take me home, take me on a ride. I got a good feeling about the colors lighting up your eyes. Take me home, take me to the sky. I got a good feeling. Tell me the only thing you are is mine now. Na 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 na. I got a good feeling. Na 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 na. I got a good feeling. Good feeling. You wanna know is how to hold on to it every moment. Dive into it like my love is an ocean. It's overflowing. I swear it's golden. So good that I'm rolling. Baby, you make me crazy. I'm seeing roses. Baby, just maybe you save me. Oh, take me home, take me on a ride. I got a good feeling about the colors lighting up your eyes. Take me home, take me to the sky. I got a good feeling. Tell me the only thing you are is mine. Take me home, take me on a ride. I got a good feeling about the colors lighting up your eyes. Take me home, take me to the sky. I got a good feeling. Tell me the only thing you are is mine now. Na 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 na. I got a good feeling. Na 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 na. I got a good feeling. Good feeling. Na 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 na.
musical. In the club you scream. God like gaze, you're so beautiful, but you're not for me. I can't sleep lately, I'm just trying to find peace. Classic melodies, I just wanna be free. I'm sorry, darling, I can't breathe. There's no room for us, there's no room for us. I said, darling, can you see? There's no room for us, there's no room. Now our lives are changing, promises keep slipping, and I always knew it wasn't you, it wasn't you. Now our lives are changing, promises keep slipping, and I always knew it wasn't you, it wasn't you. And she said, boy, saw it coming from a mile away, not as sleek as you think. DMs early in the AMs, I'm not Becky from the street. All this time, baby, our love was so deep. You can't sleep lately, but what about me? I'm sorry, darling, I can't breathe. There's no room for us, there's no room for us. I said, darling, can you see? There's no room for us, there's no room. Now our lives are changing, promises keep slipping, and I always knew it wasn't you, it wasn't you. Now our lives are changing, promises keep slipping, and I always knew it wasn't you, it of sinking out into that frequency I can't undo. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Why you look surprised when we've done this all before? I'm not sure the highs really make up for the lows. When words don't work and I get hurt, somehow I feel like I'm the worst. Manipulation overload, but babe, this time I'll steal the show. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Stop drumming on my heart. Stop drumming on my heart. Out of sync and out of touch, and maybe even out of love. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. Got me black and blue, making me wanna walk. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart.
Locked in my head, romanticizing forever. Last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first into all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? My God, don't we look good together? I should be running away, but so what, whatever. Oh, last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first into all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? You're a bad idea. Oh, but every time I see you, all reason and logic cut their losses. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first into all of it. Oh, what?
If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. You gotta give it all you got, you gotta let them know. You are on another level, you are ruthless. Switch it up, it's the new flex. Ruthless, ruthless. If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. 3, 2, 1, working! Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. Yeah, the first step is showing up, hear them cheer. Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. We're blowing up, hear them cheer. If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. You gotta give it all you got, you gotta let them know. You are on another level, you are ruthless.
Well, a big Sunday finale here in CASCAIS, the final day of the Rolex TP52 World Championship. American Magic trying to close out their 8th world title. Sled and Patrick pursuing hard, but the forecast is for big wins. Whoever wins is going to require a little bit of luck. In the meantime, we caught up first of all with Lucas Calabrese, the mainsail trimmer on American Magic. So Lucas, how do we feel about the day, the big day, trying to close out the World Championship?
Good. I mean, I think we're in a strong spot. It depends on us having a good day today. Obviously, looks pretty windy. A few of the forecasts are top end, so we'll see what happens out there where Maria decides to start us. But yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting day.
You feel like any other day in terms of the processes and everything you have to do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody on the boat needs to make sure their own areas are taken care of and try to minimize our mistakes, and then you know, I think it's up to the other teams to make it happen for them, so we just need to stick to our process.
Excited? Nervous?
Yeah, I mean, we've done this a couple times, but yeah, mostly just really focus on my job. I'm kind of new to my job, so, you know, every race it's making sure I don't make any mistakes and I keep improving.
Sled won the world title in 2021. They're contenders certainly here. They love the big breeze. And we caught up with Don Cowie. So Don, do you feel lucky today?
I'm not sure about luck, you know. You make your own luck apparently, but look, it's going to be a busy day. If it's as windy as the forecast says it's going to be full on. So
sled conditions?
Yeah, we're going well in the breeze. We sort of set the boat up knowing coming to CASCAIS it was going to be windy, and we've always been quite strong in a breeze, so we're happy if it's windy.
Without going into the fine secret details, what's the essence of that?
A combination of sail setup and rig setup, and the boat. I think we have a new fin on the boat this season, which we think is really going well.
Does that help in the big conditions, or is it just all round?
I think in the heavier conditions, the new fin certainly seems better than the old one.
What about the general technique in the big conditions? What's the key?
Yeah, we've got Adam Beechel driving, obviously, and he's a pretty handy yachty apparently from Australia, unfortunately. But no, we're pretty happy with the way the boat sets up. It's got a nice groove in that breezy stuff and the waves. We could do a little bit better downwind. We lost quantum on the last run in race 2 yesterday, which was a bit disappointing, but pretty happy with the way the boat goes, and the guys sail the boat well. Our manoeuvres are normally good, so solid.
Man of your age and experience, do you still get nervous on a day like this when everything's to play for in the World Championship?
I guess a little bit. The tension's there. You like the excitement and the adrenaline of going racing and knowing that you're still in a chance to win. We've got to roll the dice a little bit to pull this off, but we'll go out there and give it heaps.
But yesterday, everything played out in your favour a little bit.
Yes, with other people, you don't look at other people's results, you look at your own, and what happens behind us happens, and there was a bit going on behind us, obviously, but yeah, we'll just keep doing our own thing.
What do you have to do today then in terms of winning? It's in your hands, or it depends on others.
Look, it's always nice to go into the last day with an opportunity to win. I mean, it's going to be a tall ask to beat Quantum, who's yesterday showed a little bit of inconsistency, but they don't normally do that. So to beat those guys today will be a big ask, but we'll go out and give it our best shot.
What are we expecting for conditions?
Well, the forecast inside is actually at the moment 10 gusting 30. So that's quite tricky. I'm not a tactician, but as a mainsail trimmer, that's a lot of in and out, and I'm too old for that in and out too much. But no, it's the forecast is pretty hairy. Outside is already 25 to 30 and 2 metre seas at a 6-second interval, which is huge for these boats. Inside will be flat water, but it'll be very shifty and puffy.
Good, have a good one.
Thank you.
So off the top three, of course, Sled and American Magic have won world titles before. It's all new for the Blues, for the Les Bleus, for the Paprec team. We caught up with Stefan Navy, the project manager and the mainsail trimmer. So, Stefan, a few nerves in the camp this morning, or how do you feel?
Of course, we are a bit nervous. I mean, yesterday morning we were first at the leaderboard, so today we are second. So we have to be focused on what we have to do. I think our big enemy is ourselves. We did big mistake yesterday at the last race, so we need to be focused on what we can do, what we do fine, and don't do any stupid mistakes.
What's the objective at the end of the day?
I mean, the objective is to sail properly. Honestly, I mean, that's the main target. As long as you sail properly, you're doing what you know and what you can do. It's great. I mean, whatever the result is, of course, we would like to be on the podium. But if we sail properly, we don't succeed, then it's not an issue. It's that if we do mistake, that can make us disappointed.
Podium or top of the podium?
Top of the podium, of course, is better. Huh? You never know, but okay. We know where we come from. We have been fighting for a long time to be at this level, and so we should be happy with the result we will have. If we are on the podium, that would be fantastic for the team. But you can always dream of better things.
Well, very much ahead of hopes and expectations this season so far. The Italian team on board Al-Qaeda. We caught up with Andrea Lacorte, and he's looking forward to the day. Andrea, how do you feel about this big finale, the last day?
Scared.
Thank you.
It's going to be tremendously windy. They are expecting gusts up to 35 knots. I've never seen something like that in my helm. Well, we'll see. I haven't seen so many things till now, but I'm getting used to strong wind, but not to the one that we're supposed to have today. But okay, we'll, as usual, we'll keep staying concentrated and try to do it.
How do you feel about the regatta so far? Ahead of your expectations, or?
Yes. we are ahead of our expectation. I would like to have a much more constant results and not being first and last, or second last, so these kind of things, but something more stably in the middle. This is because of our lack of experience. But what I've seen that we are learning pretty quickly, and so I'm happy. I'm very much satisfied.
Tell me what, you're Italian, are you superstitious?
I may say yes, a little bit.
Go on, tell us more. You got your lucky socks or what?
We say something not too clean, but by seaman we say in culo alla balena. Culo is in the ass of the whale, and that is best to answer. Hope she will not fart.
Fantastic, good. Better in Italian, isn't it?
In culo alla balena, speriamo che non correggi.
And a more detailed look at the weather with the coach for the Alcedo team, Hugh Stiles. So Hugh, a few words about the weather. How's it looking for today, other than, without using the word windy?
Well, it's an interesting forecast today. We've got a breeze from the north. It's coming around the sides of this big mountain to the north of us, and that's making it a very tricky scenario for Maria, the race officer. Further offshore, it's blowing 25 to 30 already, but in the lee of the big mountain, there's a bit of a vacuum at the moment. So when it fills in and how much it fills in and where exactly it fills in is all a little bit of a mystery right now at this moment, but later on it definitely will be in, and it'll be entertaining, I think.
A day to be a coach and not a race officer then?
Yeah, I'm quite happy to be in the coach boat today, rather than making decisions about where to put the course.
Yesterday was a big 3-race day. Let's look back and see what happened. Penultimate day of the Rolex TP52 World Championship. Big day in every sense of the words. We've got 3 races. We've got wins up to 25 knots by the 3rd race. All the pressure's on the French in some senses. They're 2 points clear at the top of the table, leading a regatta for the first time. 7 times world champions, American Magic Quantum Racing, pushing ever so hard in second. But it's super, super close all the way through the standings. Let's go racing. So breeze is a good 20 knots on the start line of race 6, back in the best conditions for CASCAIS. A good start from American Magic, and Sled go to the left, Paprec go inshore on the right, and it's the left that comes in strong at the top of the upwind. First round is Sled, second American Magic, third rounder Paprec. A good battle between Paprec and American Magic down the run, but through the first leeward gate it's Sled leading from American Magic. Gladiator get up to third, but Paprec get back through them through the finish line. It's a win for Sled, a big win. Second American Magic, third Paprec, and Paprec and American Magic tied at the top after this race.
I remember racing there before.
Second race of the day, race 7 of the series, 25 knots on the start line, 2.1 mile beat, 325 wind access. Really good start from Platoon Aviation, 1/3 up from the pin end of the line. They'll get to the right along with the Sled and Gladiator early. Round the top mark is the lead for Platoon Aviation, with Sled, Gladiator in third. Platoon Aviation extend down the first run, Sled holding second. American Magic have a good run, come through the leeward gate in third. So through the finish line, it's the first win of the regatta for Platoon Aviation, and they're a long way ahead of American Magic Quantum Racing, who takes second. Sled in third are really close behind, but American Magic Quantum Racing extend their lead in the regatta. So race number 8 of the regatta, the 3rd race of the day. It's a long windy day, still 22 to 25 knots on the start line. The wind axis is 320. It's all about getting off the start line out to the right. Alcedo and Gladiator good early on. A big right shift on the top part of the first beat. Gladiator get it right, come round the top mark in the lead. Alcedo round in second, the Sled in third. Down the first run will Alcedo jibe set at the mark and make a big gain relative to Gladiator. At the top mark, second time up, both Paprec and American Magic run out of room on port tack. American Magic extricate themselves out of it, but it's difficult for Paprec. They have to go all the way around the back of the fleet. That costs them both dearly. In the meantime, it's a big and emotional win for the Italians on Alcedo Vitamina. Through in second, a good race for Gladiator. Sled get third, and down in 8th are American Magic, Paprec in 10th. And so American Magic finish 5 points clear of Paprec and Sled on the charge. So the leaderboard going into the final day of the Rolex TP52 World Championship, American Magic on top on 27 points, second are Paprec on 32, and third Sled on 36. Well, welcome to CASCAIS. You can see from the images it's a big Sunday already here at the Rolex TP52 World Championship. It is the big finale, everything to play for. American Magic just in front, but anything could happen today. We've got Doogie back in the hot seat, joining me in the nice and dry studio, and out on the water we've got Louise Vanser, a world champion in her own right. Louise, how's it looking? What's it going to take to win the World Championship today?
And the final day of the Rolex TP52 World Championship, and I don't think it has been ever more excited before than today. So we moved further inside the bay because outside there were like complete survival conditions, and now we are actually in the axis between the entry of Rio de Tejo and the club. So further inside the bay, we still have 20 to 25 knots. The gusts actually are hitting really hard, but flatter water. I don't know if it makes it so much easier for the boats, because I feel sometimes when you have waves, there's always a moment where you don't have pressure. So that's the moment then to make a maneuver, a jibe or stuff. But now the gusts are hitting hard, it's shifty, so definitely super challenging conditions, but another game than what we've seen the days before, Andy. And I saw all the teams pretty emotional already this morning. It has been a long week, a lot of wind, everyone is tired, but everyone wants to push this final day. There has been frustration, there has been surprises, drama, feelings. Wow, I am so excited for the two races to come, Andy.
Thanks, Louise. Doogie, what's going to take to win this World Championship? We're on a new race area. We've got American Magic Quantum Racing with that 5-point lead ahead of Paprec. Paprec, newcomers to the situation. They're trying to close out a podium, and Sled, 2021 World Champions. A little bit of a buffer, 8 points back to Alcedo. It's all new though, isn't it, on this race course, Doogie?
Yeah, it's a different race course, so we're not sure if it's going to be a right side favored course like it's been in the last couple of days. The team's probably been going upwind and trying to get a feel for in the lineups who is it the right or left pane, and that's going to help dictate where we're going to go on the start. All things being equal, people are going to go for the favorite end of the line. If we're not sure which end of the line, which side of the course is going to be favored, we're going to go for the favored side of the line.
But who can afford to risk more? Or is it really, what's the kind of strategy looking through these top 3, top 4 boats? Can American Magic afford to be their usual percentage sailing consistent selves?
Yeah, I mean, American Magic is going to stick to their game. Round in the top 5 and work their way up from there and stay close to Paprec. Anytime Paprec is behind him, they're going to be happy and play it ultra conservative. If they're ahead, you could see them. I wouldn't expect anything extreme from Terry, but it's going to be, again, it's 4 legs every race, and 1 or 2 boats per leg, and all of a sudden he's back up there, keep the points close.
What's your forecast from secretly within the platoon aviation team? But no, I'm just wondering, if we get 1 race, are we going to get 2? That's the big question in terms of, because that will dictate strategy to a certain extent through the fleet.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a bit of a pressure build coming around 2 o'clock or a little bit after. So yeah, we were possibly in a 1 race situation, but we are in a different race course really than what we have the forecast for. So if the breeze is holding for this, it could very well have 2 races.
But there's battles all the way through the leaderboard, Doogie, isn't there? Yeah,
I mean, every team is going to try and move up, a place or more. Paprec is obviously going to, they want the podium with the potential to win, so they're going to, fight that out. Sled is, has an outside chance of, doing something miraculous, but we keep looking down the points, and in the mid fleet, there's room to jump up 3, 4, 5 places if you have a good race and one team has a not great race. You could all of a sudden go from 8th to 5th.
Louise, what's your intelligence from the boat park? You went round and saw quite a lot of different navigators and key sailors today. Are we looking at a 1 race or a 2 race day in your opinion?
Oh, Andy, that's a good question. I think no one at that moment can answer this question, but if I would be now sitting in one of these boats, I would always go with the imagination that this can be the last race, you know, so I would like try to make sure that I can get what I can just to secure, and if there is a second race, okay, that's another opportunity to move even further forward. But I think for now the teams can be very happy to be out here racing. It's an exciting day, nice weather, big wind, smaller waves than the other days, but I think they have to really go with what they have, and this is at the moment one race, and who knows what's after.
Louise, just in terms of where we are geographically relative to where we've been, we're further into the river, aren't we?
Yes, exactly, Annie. So we moved a lot further inside the bay. Yesterday we've been outside the bay where all the container ships parking, and now we're just in the axis between the club and the entry of Rio de Tejo. So we are here at this corner just racing in front of the city of CASCAIS. And it's interesting, just from the geographic, wind is everywhere, plenty enough for all the boats. So no worries about that. We had it the other days that sometimes there was less breezy inside the bay than further outside of the bay, but this is not the case today. There's plenty of wind. I just don't know exactly if there would be a right bend at the right side, or if there would be maybe even acceleration at the right side. And also in front of me I can see the mountain of Sintra, and maybe the wind wants to go around that mountain. So these are all things the strategists and tacticians have to consider now going up that first speed.
Dougie, your thoughts on the way this start is shaping up? We're seeing a Gladiator, as we often do at the committee boat end of the line, Phoenix towards the left, Vayu in the middle, but everybody's staying generally on the right side of the start line.
Yeah, I mean, Gladiator is going for the dead bird start, as we like to call it. And everybody's piled up by the committee boat, so, you know, it seems like either it's a right side favored line or everybody's pretty nervous about defending the right here. And then, you know, it's a pretty tightly packed bunch here.
One boat, Paprec, seemed to be quite far back, am I right? Not sure, certainly we can't, we're on board with Paprec, or we can see on board briefly with Paprec.
Yeah, Paprec's got something going on. They're pretty much racing from where they are. They're way back, so something's happening.
So there we go, the start gun goes. And yeah, decent start from Phoenix, I think, furthest down the line. Not sure what's going on with Paprec, but they do seem to have a problem, seem to be well back, which is going to be devastating for them.
Yeah, I mean, Paprec definitely didn't need that. You know, they, you know, now, you know,
they're still settling down to get across the line, aren't they?
Yeah, they just make Quantum's jobs a lot easier, and now, you know, they're going to start thinking about what this is going to mean for the event.
Yeah, they're not even just getting across the line just now for the French team, lying second, just when they need to be imposing themselves. Don't know whether they had a technical breakdown or whatever, but they were well back on the start line, just starting now. But meantime, on the race course, or at the front of the fleet, American Magic, as you said, Dougie, just making a nice start and heading out towards the right side of the course. So the advantage just now is with American Magic. Sled, a reasonable start in 8th, but how's it looking from your perspective, Louise, on the race course?
Andy, what a disaster here for the French team. Oh my God, I don't know what's happening to them, but that's so painful. They went in such a good position in this day, now starting last. I don't know, they need a lucky angel to turn this around. Let's see if the angels are with the French team today. But wow, that's really not the start you're looking for. I think also Allegre, to be honest, was really pushing the right side at the start, and when I did my pre-racing homework, I measured the line. Yes, the right side was better, but still it's better to get over the starting line by the timing than the starting late, as Allegre did, and also Paprec. And I think for now American Magic and Provezza are looking really good there at the right side. They could tag super early after the start. They must be so good for Provezza. They had such a rough day yesterday. Think about, they whipped 2 Janakas on one day. Plenty of things went wrong yesterday for that team, so I think they are very happy now being in the front of the fleet after the start. But American Magic for me looks for now the strongest. I'm just here at the left side, leeward of the Italian team, and to be honest, also now the boats who tacked onto port look pretty good. And when I saw the warm-up of the boats, all the boats towards the right of the course were always looking stronger than the boats on the left of the course. But the boats didn't have a lot of time to warm up, so I just saw like around 5 to 10 minutes. They never went up until the upwind mark, so I think we really have to see how this develops here.
Indeed, I remember from previous World Championships and things raced here, getting towards the windward mark, Doogie, the breeze gets more unsettled, bigger shifts and more random shifts, so really anything could happen. In the meantime, I suppose the saving grace just now for Paprec is they have Alcedo Vitamina just a couple of boats ahead, but the advantage definitely does swing a little bit towards Sled and for sure American Magic where they want to be, Doogie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get to the bus. Get closer to the top mark, it's going to get shifty as you proportionally get closer to shore. But we kind of have two fleets here. We have a right side group and a left side group, and one of the basics here is just if you can win your group, you can guarantee yourself a good rounding at the top mark. So you basically have two little mini regattas going on here and trying to fight it out. And then the Quantum's is leading the right side group right now, and Phoenix is looking like they're leading the left side group.
Gladiator look quite strong there, assuming we get some advantage on that right side. But certainly some big separation now, really, isn't there? Allegra way out to this left side in our foreground, I think. But a big split, Louise, then in the fleet for just now.
Yeah, Allegra currently... Yes, Allegra currently here the only boat on the left side. They're really separate completely from the other boats. We are back in Casino, Andy. Or this goes very well, or this can go very bad. Now they go into their tack. For now, I don't see this was the best side, but we don't know because it's super shifty here as well inside the bay and gusty. So they just need a bit more pressure and they can make so many meters good now to the rest of the fleet. But I also look at Paprec all the time because this can be the end of their championship potential win here. Like when you start like this and then your competitor is actually starting so well in a leading position now, this is very hard now for the French team to recover from this. And I spoke with them this morning and they tried to simplify. They were not happy with how they did yesterday. They just made it too complicated and everyone is tired on all the boats. The grinder had a little bit of pain, but then he told me this morning, okay, he has this one chance. They're so close to win the championship. He just want to go again and push through and push double hard because they're so close to win that title. But for now, they seem to be very, very far away again from winning that title after that start, unfortunately.
Indeed, Louise. But looking at Phoenix, the South African team, going quite well. Doogie?
Yeah, I was actually just noticing that it seems like they're on a J35 as opposed to a J4. And it seems like there may be a couple other boats there on J35s. So that's, indicating that, nobody's really confident that, it's a big,
a super big day.
20-25 knot situation, that there are some lighter spots and they want to make sure and keep the boat going in some of the lighter spots.
So you set up for the lighter breeze or the mean wind speed, or what's the general strategy in terms of sail selection a day like this?
Yeah, it seems like the punishment of getting caught out with your J4 in a light spot is pretty punishing. That being said, this is flatter water than what we've seen in the past, so going downwind to the J4 is probably less punishing than what it was in the big waves out here. But it looks like Alpha Plus here is definitely on a J4.
Mm-hmm.
Quantum's on a J35.
American Magic just a little bit underpowered. Do we think this maybe?
Yeah,
certainly relative to
it seems like they're
Phoenix.
In a bit of a light spot there. But the Alpha Plus is on a J4 right now. And they seem to be going just fine.
Sled in 7th there, kind of in the middle of the right-hand group, as it were. Allegra in 10th, Paprec 11th.
So out.
Go on, Louise.
And So out here on the water I can see so many pressure differences, especially now. Like the group there at the right side, they're in big pressure, while Allegro here towards the left has a lot lighter and less wind. But also interesting are the angle differences. There was a point Allegro almost pointed back to the, like, not to the starting line, but stayed on a completely different angle than the boats on the right side. So it's super complicated. I don't think you can really predict what's coming, so you have to go with what you have, and these are the boats around you and your positioning to them, because you can't control where the wind will hit you next or how the wind will shift. But this will be an exciting race because it will be open until the end, as it's so shifty and gusty, and the angles of the boats turning all the time, and also the pressure is changing. And if I look now up to the upwind mark, I can see wide water at the right side and a lull of, I would say, maybe 10 knots on the left side. So for me at the moment the right side looks a lot stronger than the left side, but this can change again in a second. So super complicated, exciting out here.
I remember this is pretty close to the medal course for the 2007 World Championship. Everybody raced out off on the offshore courses and then came into the medal race course in this kind of direction and rough location, and it was, as you said, Louise, it's a bit of a casino. But what does Maria do on a day like this? You can't, if there's a breeze and there's a race area, you've got to use it rather than have no racing. But really, Phoenix going really well just now. Allegro have come from, I think, 10th out on that left side.
Yeah, and we're looking at the tracks here.
And of course, yeah, Will Ryan there calling the shots with Andy Soriano.
Looking at the tracks right now, some of the fleet's showing a pretty big right shift, especially the lured group. And Phoenix is actually in a bit of a left shift right now, just lifting off everybody, shearing off. But even though that's the trend over the last minute, you can still see that there's a lot of tiny little shifts everywhere. But the question that's going to be happening now is what's the right kite going to be for the run? You know, everybody's plugged in a spinnaker in the pre-start, or the best spinnaker that we think is going to be used for the run. But you know, if there's a 10-knot hole at the top mark, that's going to make people pretty nervous.
Again, how do you choose? What do you choose for the first half in the lighter breeze or the second half in the stronger breeze?
Yeah, you probably set up for the lighter spot, and survive in the puff.
Yeah.
As long as you don't blow up your spinnaker.
And with things looking certainly, according to the leaderboard, according to our tracker, things looking a little bit better for the Paprec. At the moment is Phoenix and Allegro, which are the top two boats. Louise, what are you seeing just now in terms of the leading groups and the split left to right?
Good question, Andy, because the leading group can change from second to second. So wow, what a day. Everybody already nervous, everybody tired, and then we have these exciting conditions here for the final day. These are real headache conditions where you don't exactly know what will happen next. So stuff can go very fast, very bad, and then in the next second, super good again. So this is just an add up on the roller coaster we have been having already through the entire season. Wow, very exciting to follow, but still I can see a lot of wind on the right side and a lot of wind on the left ley line. There's just Allegro the closest to the left ley line, and it's interesting to see how the gusts really hit the boat. So it's very shifty, the boats get so much heel, then all of a sudden get flat again. So everyone's super busy on these boats, and to be honest, I don't know who will be the leading group because it's changing all the time. But for now, Phoenix and Allegro look good, but as I remember 3 minutes or 5 minutes ago, I said Allegro doesn't look good, so this is just changing the whole time.
Interesting that Alcedo are one of the teams which have really come up through the fleet, having started a little bit late. And of course Alcedo with the 4 times Olympian from CASCAIS, or certainly from Lisbon, Alvaro Marinho there supporting Cameron Appleton, and they're going pretty well just now. Paprec also have recovered a little bit of ground, but as Louise said, it's not about here and now, it's about what happens at the windward mark. But this is very much a kind of Vasco type of day as well, isn't it, Dougie?
Yeah, I mean, anytime it's shifty like this, you put your bets on Vasco. really good at sniffing these little shifts out and weaseling his way up to the front. But this is also good conditions for Pat Brett, considering they had a shock over start. At least there's an opportunity here for them to play shifts and work their way back into the fleet. So even though we wrote them off at the after the start, the fact that
I didn't.
the fact that there's so many shifts, I think, is opening the door. And Quantum will for sure be looking over their shoulder here and keeping an eye on what the situation is.
Louise, talk to us about the shifts. The shifts are happening. Dougie, tell us about the shifts. I mean, what's the magnitude of the shifts that we're seeing just now, and how do you use them?
Well, I mean, we're probably, I'm assuming they're seeing 5 to 15 degree shifts or more here. So those are all pretty significant, especially. But there's also pressure differences, and we always talk sometimes. Is it pressure versus shift? What's the benefit? When do you take the more pressure on a bad shift? So that conversation is happening.
Massive credit in the meantime to Phoenix, really, with Nick Asher seeming to be able to wriggle free of the fleet a little bit at the moment. 470 double world champion, sailed here a lot, but so too as Will Ryan, we can see, is on board as with Allegra, and they could well go round the top mark in first and second.
Yeah.
Galcado pulling back,
and the French are back in the race. They're in the mid fleet, so it's all played for here.
Correspondingly, if it's so shifty going upwind, there's so many places to be gained and lost, it's going to be even more interesting downwind, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, downwind pressure is going to be king here. Whoever's in that, there's 10 knot differences in the pressure. Whoever can stay in that pressure longer is going to make massive gains.
So what do Pat Brett have to do in this position, Dougie? You can see they're a little bit kind of frenetic. Loic Perron is an absolute wasp on board. He's like all over the place. A little bit, he makes Vasco look a little bit pedestrian, doesn't he? But you can see, in some senses it's great to have the energy, but in other senses you need to remain calm.
Yeah, I mean, Loic seems to be a very, old school style tactician and kind of sniffs things and goes by a lot of feeling. But they've got to be pretty happy with what they've done here, and now they just have to realize, okay, now they're in the race with a chance to fight and not throw it away. We got to go back to, if we can put 2-3 boats between them and Quantum and American Magic, that's going to be a gainer.
Louise, how's it looking then? You're presumably now at the top mark. Our energies show it streaky and quite shifty, holes and gusts.
Andy, I'm at the top mark here, but at the top mark there's no lull. There's full on here at the top mark. 25 knots, super big right shift as well. We are very, very close to shore. I can see every single window in the houses. So in theory, you would really want to be now on that right ley line, trying to go as fast as you can. What an upwind is what. You could go from 0 to 0 in 1 minute because it was so shifty, and now this approach, a lot of the boats massively overstood the ley line actually. You can see it on the shots we have here. So Phoenix is just not on the ley line, but Aikido is already over ley line, and now Allegra will make it even difficult there for them just tacking in front of them, so that will push everyone over the ley line even more. So in theory you want to go for a jibe set after this upwind mark, but wow, there's a lot of wind here. The water's almost flying. That's how strong the gust is here at the upwind mark.
Indeed, but at the moment looks like Phoenix should just about get there first, with Allegra in second. Just a little hitch for the South African team, which won a race 2 days ago. Otherwise they've been a little bit up and down over the course of the regatta, but another team which like the big wins generally.
So currently it looks like Phoenix is setting up for a bearway set here. So it'll be interesting to see what the other teams are doing.
But they have a big lead, don't they?
Wow, mainsails flying, caps. Wow, mainsails flying, caps falling in the water. This is full on here. incredible. I don't know if they can go for their jibe. They will try.
Phoenix just broke the short sheet, so let's keep an eye on their set. Make sure it doesn't tear the spinnaker or anything. It's going to make the set a little bit more challenging with a broken short sheet.
Allegra get round in second. Alcedo will be third. Nice upwind from them. Then I think American Magic will be happy with fourth, Doogie.
Yep. Yeah, again, you know, they're just in front.
They have
Paprec.
Paprec breathing down their necks, and I think, given the start the French made, I think they can be happy with their recovery.
Yeah, I mean, Paprec, you know, needs to be aggressive on the run here and, you know, go for the pass.
Tell me about the setup here on Allegra, the way they're setting up for this big hoist.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I kind of missed that one, but Allegra, that was a pretty clean hoist, bareway set. Boat's going really nicely.
They were seeing Alcedo then chasing, but it looks like the top two boats have got a little bit of a jump for the meantime. We're seeing Gladiator coming in ninth at the top mark. This fleet really starting to spread out.
So here we go. We got our first boat. First two boats have jibed back. Phoenix jibed and Allegra's following suit. So I think people are looking for pressure.
American Magic seem to be quite nicely set up for the meantime.
Yeah, and Paprec's making their move here. They're
fantastic.
They're going for a
You've
jibe.
You've got to love that, don't you?
You know, there's no fear here. Yeah, they're gonna. Paprec's, you know, Louis gonna go for it. They're gonna try and, you know, find a puff. And Quantum right now is, you know, thinking pretty hard about what the right decision is.
What is the right decision?
Terry's got to be thinking about jibing and covering here. I think that conversation is going to be occurring on the boat here.
So maybe a little opportunity for the French, you never know. Louise, what's your thoughts on this run in general? What's your favoured side?
What a comeback here by the French team, Andy. I mean, how they recovered, being at the Upwind mark in the 5th place after starting dead last is already an incredible performance. So from here on, they can actually just win and move forward because they're back in the fleet. I think the split now between American Magic and Paprec is super interesting to watch. And as Doogie said, yeah, Paprec want to go aggressive. They were one of the first teams jibing out there. What a strong gust was at the Upwind mark. So I think all the teams played safe. First set to Jenniker to then jibe. And now we are back in the casino. Will it be the right side? Will it be the left side? For me at the moment, the boats who jibed out earlier look a bit better, but I don't exactly know if this will stay onto the downwind gate as it's so changeable here on the race course.
Doogie, you're monitoring the tracker very closely. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Alcedo, American Magic, and Alpha are either trying to shift or just increase pressure. They've all kind of borne away and stay on the lower mode. But we're seeing the same thing on the other group, which is probably indicating
that's interesting, isn't it?
There's just big puff rolling down the course right now. So both sides are basically getting headed because of the puff. So all bets are off here. The tricky part is make sure when they jibe it's in a puff, you know, and don't jibe in the light spot.
Yeah, it's interesting just looking at that American Magic, just perhaps a little bit of a light spot, having to bring the bow up relative to Alcedo, who've come out in a puff and are sailing more directly towards the finish line. But in the meantime, the South African team, the Phoenix, are fully launched with a big lead over 400 metres. And we're just watching the balance of power between the left and the right coming down this run. Paprec jibed early along with Allegra. Really, what a fantastic finale for this Rolex 52 World Championship. CASCAIS really delivering all the way through the week.
I mean, looking at the tracker right now on the angle that American Magic was on, is they probably in a pretty big light spot. And they've just come into a little bit of pressure now. But it seems like that was potentially a little bit of a loss for them.
On board the French team.
I think today everything is possible. Yeah, I think today everything is possible. You know, these things can change this so fast. And it's incredible to see how local the pressure is as well. So, Doogie, I think it was interesting the moment you said yeah, you should jibe in pressure. That's when Aikido and American Magic actually just jibed with no wind at all. So that's really then not the ideal moment to jibe. And for me, it's interesting to see that Phoenix is leading here. The other day when we sailed inside the bay, when there was so light as wind as well, and we had an overnight tactician change with Phoenix and Nick Asher stepping in, they also won that race. So maybe Nick Asher really likes to sail here inside the bay with Tony Morris, but this can be the opportunity here for the French team, Andy. I just saw them driving back onto starboard again, and it seems like they made massive meters good to American Magic, so they're on full fire. Allez les Bleus, look at them, full gust there, sending it downwind. This can be the recovery for the French team. This will be so exciting to watch until the finish.
Indeed. Meantime, all the credit to Phoenix and Allegra, who really have sailed an immaculate race so far. Great to see, as you said, Nick Asher versus Will Ryan, first and second. A little fun private battle in some senses. Great friends and long-time colleagues or teammates on board Allegra. But look at the standings, the projected standings just now. It would be American Magic on 35, Paprec on 35. It's changing all the time. Sled on 42. Aikido really taking it to Sled at the same time. But this is really a finale worthy of a world title. Alpha Plus there going quite nicely down this run as well. But this race, Doogie, starts to look like it's Phoenix is to lose, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's commentator's curse there.
That's why we do it.
Yeah, this is where you have that conversation about coming in the bottom mark. Just get the kite on board and have a clean drop. Don't risk anything.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be great for Phoenix to win a race. You know, they've had a little bit of an up and down season, come in late. They didn't race in Saint-Tropez and they didn't do the early season training. So they've been kind of playing catch up a little bit, but a team which have won regattas before, and of course in 2021 were in the fight for the season title and the world title.
And we consider, Phoenix is generally one of the quicker teams on the race course. The boat is, always well set up, well trimmed, and it's not a slow boat, and so they go well. So boat speed is, always a strong component of that team.
Louise, how's it looking from the leeward gate? Paprec versus American Magic is the key tussle in this race.
Exciting. Yes, oh my god, there's a lot of pressure now at the right side coming down, so where I can see the French team in, and then Alpha Plus, for example, coming from the other side. Already super hot. They might need to drop the kite to actually make the downwind gate because the wind might be shifted or there's just more pressure. Crazy conditions out here. So my coach used to say, when it's crazy outside, at least try to keep it calm inside the boat. Yeah, right. Easier said than done, actually. So I can expect the teams going very crazy right now because this is difficult sailing, full exciting, very emotional, and not easy at all with the shifts and pressure differences. And right now we have full pressure here, 20 knots at the downwind gate, I would say, and big shift. So let's see what will happen now for the second upwind. But I think some of the teams who are further in the back, they really have to push now, because who knows if this will be the last race or if there will come another race.
Interesting, just watching how we can see the breeze on the water, Doogie, the shifts, the gusts. And there's really big pressure differentials just in little localized lulls. But Paprec seemed to be reading the breeze quite well.
Yeah, I mean, shifty days like this give opportunities along with risk. And, Paprec right now is managing, taking a lot of those opportunities to get themselves back in this regatta.
So waiting for the leeward gate.
What an awesome lead from Phoenix. That's really cool.
And as Louise was just saying, some of the teams coming in with no Jenniker coming in a super tight angle in this shifty breeze. Interesting mark roundings, Doogie.
Yeah, I mean, you're overstood. You carry the kite as long as you can, and at some point, then you just got to 2-sail it in. Yeah, it seems like that's what Alpha Plus did. We saw another early drop from the French. But they're getting themselves a good clean rounding, and they're going to round in front of American Magic. So now they're going to start asking themselves the question of, where's American Magic on the course and what the point situation is, and start, pushing them back if they can.
They need boats between them and American Magic, don't they?
Yeah, I think the points are 5 points, I think.
Yeah. 27 versus 32.
Yeah, so, we're potentially still in a 2-race situation here. So, yeah, you want to get as many points as you can here, but also the reality is it's probably going to be 2 races. So make sure you don't throw away a 3-point gain.
Don't be too greedy. Don't be too aggressive. How's it looking, Louise? What's your interpretation of the breeze and the way this second upwind is shaping up?
Andy, I think we learned something very interesting from that downwind. So let's go back to the upwind mark, remembering how the boats rounded that mark. American Magic continuing together with Alpha Plus actually behind them. And then American Magic jibed with Arcado together in a spot where there was not a lot of wind, and Alpha Plus just continued straight and then came so hot into the downwind gate that they even had to drop the kite. And they rounded in second the downwind gate at the same time as Allegro. So if I would be on American Magic now or in Arcado, I would really think, oh gosh, I maybe jibed there at the wrong place. But it's difficult to say because most of the fleet actually had jibed earlier, so maybe they wanted to cover a little bit there. But today are not really conditions where you can cover other boats because the pressure and the gusts and the shifts are so local. So you cannot say, oh yeah, I just sail with the other boats to the right side, like this I stay in control. No, for this the conditions here are way too crazy. So you have to go with what you have and execute this as good as you can. And looking upwind now, I can see again more pressure on the right side than on the left side. So for now I would be a very happy boat sailing towards the right side.
Are you seeing a reason for that, Louise, in terms of the geography, the topography ashore?
Yes, Andy. So at the right side we have CASCAIS, and then later behind CASCAIS the city of Lisbon. And I think there is acceleration, and it's also bending around the mountain of Sintra. So the mountain of Sintra is just in front of us, and the wind can go at the right side around it or at the left side. But from where the upwind mark is, it's just so much easier for the wind to bend around at the right side of that mountain. So that's why I think, especially when you come into that upwind mark, so the last third of the upwind, the right side works as magic with more wind and a right shift as well.
Indeed, Dougie, just looking at the boats just now, American Magic, quite upright once again for a few seconds. The breeze starting to pick up just now for Alcedo, but it really, as Louis said, localized lulls.
Yeah,
it's really trying to knit the pressure lines together, isn't it?
Yeah, and then on tracker we can see that boats right next to each other showing left shift and right shift. What American Magic has going for them right now is they have leverage on Pat Breck, so that it wouldn't take much of a shift to get back ahead of them. But Pat Breck has to kind of start thinking about how do they stay between the man and the hoop.
Indeed, I'm sure besides everything else, getting across the finish line ahead of American Magic would rebuild their confidence a little bit going into hopefully a second race. Certainly no reason just now why we wouldn't do a second race. We've got plenty of time, plenty of breeze, and this is, as Louis said, a little bit of a casino course. Yeah,
and we could see Quantum just moving 2-3 people forward, so they're in a pretty big light spot if they're doing that. I think almost they're probably 1 or 2 people at the shrouds. So they're probably 12 knots of breeze there, 13, 14 knots of breeze.
But on board Paprec then, the French team pushing as hard as they can. Cedric Chateau there on the helm. Jean-Marie Doris there at the back. He's standing in at this regatta, an America's Cup sailor in a Mocha. technical manager. But Phoenix over 400 metres ahead.
Jean-Marie actually did bow for the German America's Cup team
Way back when.
in Valencia 2007.
He also sailed originally, I think, on the Audi All for One programme with Jochen Schumann and Stefan Candler's programme.
Yep, I think Seb Cole was helming that.
And where are they now? Anyway, Allez les Bleus, as we were allowed to say occasionally. But
So this morning,
go on, Louise.
So this morning when I spoke with the French team, I went straight forward and asked them, guys, why are you at the moment in a winning position, or why are you close to being in a winning position? And the other events, you were always like, had good results, but never really on the top of the table. And it was so nice because they said, yeah, it was not rocket science sailing here, so we knew we had to go to the right side, and then we could just focus on making the boat fast. And I think that's what we also saw the other days, that it was kind of clear where the next gain will come from. On the race course we had further outside of the bay, and for now this second upwind also looks like a much more like a drag race, like a one-way street to the right side than the upwind before. But I think this is the strong conditions of the French show, to feel more comfortable in the waves. Inside here in the bay there is less waves, so more choppy, flattish water, so all the boats have a similar speed. So it's interesting that the French really liked these simple conditions where it's not rocket science, with what side you have to sail to, so they can completely focus on their speed, and then they felt so comfortable with the waves. And now inside here we have actually challenging conditions. It might be a one-way street now in the right side, with having that gain feature last third of the upwind mark with the wind band and the acceleration and more wind, but maybe this can still change, and definitely also gives opportunity to all the boats to sail fast because there's flatter water here.
Indeed, you can see the difference in the wind pressure there in that shot of the big lead for the South African team, the Plattner family's programme, leading by over 350 metres or so from Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus have had a tough regatta so far, down in 10th place. Best result so far this week has been 3 sevenths. So finishing on a high note on the last day with a top 2, top 3 race result would be great for them. Meantime, do the balance of power changing slightly between Paprec and American Magic, do we think, or is that just temporary?
We're just looking at the tracker, showing a big right shift right now, so you think Paprec's probably starting to think about taking a hitch back to the middle of the course here and trying to consolidate their gains, hopefully, on American Magic.
I'd imagine there'll be some current in this course as well, I guess.
Yeah, because the river's influence there, so I haven't looked at the tide charts today, but for sure the current coming in and out of there is going to be a pretty determining factor, especially if it's going to help people, get up to ley line or make ley line, or get harder to get around the mark.
But big picture, American Magic, they've had it tough in this race in some stages, but they're doing what they need to do. They're not panicking and they're just sailing the percentages, although Terry seems to have lost his hat.
To be fair, I don't think he had his hat on for a while, so.
But yeah, they're under no particular pressure, really, and as long as they keep in the top half of the fleet and stay in contact with Paprec as much as anything.
Yeah, but if we're in a 2-race situation and all of a sudden the 5-point lead goes down to 2 points, then that's becomes a very stressful situation. So I would say Terry's starting to feel the heat here, and probably kicking themselves a little bit on that run about and not driving when they could to get back to the other side and stay with the French.
It was interesting, we overheard a little bit of the briefing from Hugh Stiles for Alcedo, and he was saying that really today's the day when they needed as much input in terms of the the wind coming down into the boat as possible, more so than ever before, and I think that's been the key role as the strategists and everyone else in the boat, trying to keep the afterguard informed to make these decisions.
Yeah, I mean, the strategist would be pretty important to try to give a big picture situation of where the breeze is coming from in the next 5-10 minutes, and then the offside trimmers, or usually whoever is providing the instant wind situation of the puffs building or dying, and that's really important for the main trimmer and the jib trimmer and the runner to make sure the boat's going.
So looking at platoon at the moment, we're on board briefly with them. Who's doing that there on the German boat?
Javi calls all the puffs upwind, and then don't really have a strategist position right now. So Victor's probably providing a little bit of information for that, as well as Jules.
And calling the puffs in, what function does that serve in terms of the afterguard and the trimmers?
Well, for the trimmers, it's going to give them an idea of how much to ease the main or pull the main in and power the boat up, and how long the puff is. Is this a temporary light spot, a temporary puff, or is this going to stick for the next 30 seconds? Might do a bigger adjustment if that's the situation.
So Patrick maybe making a little bit of progress, a little bit of extra places. They're up to 4th. American Magic we're seeing in 7th. We could maybe perhaps have a quick look at the projected points table in a few seconds. On board briefly with the Platoon Aviation not having the best of days so far. But no mistaking the big lead for Phoenix. Allegri have really been in contention since the beginning of this race, or certainly the early part of the Upwind.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix is, was ahead first part of the first beat, and they haven't looked back since, so they're in a pretty comfortable position.
What do we feel has gone wrong with the platoon and sled in particular? Anything?
Well, it seems like both, at least platoon I was following earlier, and they were in the pack there for 2/3 of the way up the beat, and it seems like they got to the left of the group there and tacked and maybe got a light spot header, right shift, and struggled there for a little bit, got passed by a couple of boats at that point.
So Bree seems to be back up as the leading boat approaches the windward mark, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Just losing a little bit of power out the top of the main, just coming in once again, that right shift, watching behind, watching Paprec, Alpha Plus, Allegri coming in and under attacking. Louise, you're at the windward mark, I guess.
Mark, and it's completely on again. Water almost flying, so much wind here, and what a right shift. Oh my god, well, where do all the boats want to go? You overstood the ley line. Hey, here we are here. Wow, but this might be the opportunity for American Magic. I think they did something very good now. They didn't go on the ley line or even behind the boats because they wanted to get free air. No, they went like on a 3rd, 5th ley line so that they can then tack up and pick their own ley line without overstanding that much as the other boats are now. So this is maybe the good moment now for American Magic to catch up some meters, because all the other boats overstood the ley line by miles. This is at least how it looks like, and these meters can be so painful and crucial, Andy. So that might be now the winning moment for American Magic. Maybe they can make some meters good here.
Let's hope. But in the meantime, Dougie, talk to us about the set here for the Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, Phoenix was actually struggling to bear away for a little bit there in that puff. The jib, the main was flapping. Jib was probably max eased on the short sheet. So they're kind of just surviving there, just make sure keeping everything in one piece. Boat is nice and flat on that set. They're kind of just getting settled, and before they power it up, they're not make sure they don't wipe out. Yep, they're just kind of keeping it low and tender here for a little bit until
low and tender.
just don't want to break anything.
Exactly. We're learning so much. But look, they've got a massive lead. Watching American Magic there coming in from the right of picture.
Yeah, and Paprec is, you got to give it to him. That's an impressive race that they've done up to now. you know, a shocker of a start, and you know, they're gonna have, you know, 3 or 4 boats between them and American Magic at the top mark. So the pressure's on.
The pressure is on, yes, as you say. I think probably a couple of boats at least. Meantime, Allegri around. Fantastic race. 1 minute and 51 seconds behind Alpha Plus in third.
Yeah, and these guys coming around look either it's a little bit lighter or they're doing a better job controlling, but their mains are a little more settled, which is going to help, you know, settle the helm down a little bit on the offset leg.
So there we go, Paprec round in fourth. Who would have thought after that start? But this will be, besides everything else, a massive confidence booster for them. Settle the nerves. They will prove they can pretty much achieve anything if we can get another race.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they were aggressive on the run, and they did what they needed to do. They created a split with American Magic, and they gave themselves a situation. So now they're in the reverse situation, where now they're going to be ahead on this run, and they're going to have to start thinking about
do they cover,
how they cover, and where they stay compared to American Magic, and don't make, you know, the mistake that they did.
They can't be over aggressive or too greedy. It's that balance. What are the opportunities in terms of taking places, and how much is the risk, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's not, you know, it's not always easy to just to cover, because potentially the boat behind jibed in a puff, and where there's no puff for you to jibe and cover them. So you kind of have to try and, you know, that's a risk to manage and make a decision on.
The great images then, Stefan Navy, the main sheet trimmer, working super hard, trimmers working hard, grinders on their game.
And they're doing a good job getting all the way to aft here. The water's pretty flat, so the bow's not stuffing too much. But we see that outside the bowman is just doing a little bit of cleanup. The most forward guy was
interesting.
The helmsman.
Alpha Plus just crossing in front of them and no more. So they have 4 boats between them and American Magics. There's the distances between them, but hopefully we can have a look at the projected points tally in a few seconds' time. There you go. It would be American Magic 35, or sorry, Paprec 35, American Magic, Quantum Racing on 36, Sled 43. If positions stay the same, so what do you do then, Dougie, if you're American Magic at this point?
Well, American Magic, you know, needs to try and get 1 or 2 boats on this run here, and, you know, come into the last race. But Terry's big thing is always, if you can come into the last race with a chance to win, then you're in a pretty good situation. So if they can come into the last race with a 1 point, 2 point lead over Paprec, they're going to be happy.
Paprec then seemed to be a slightly lighter breeze, but getting a little bit of a header perhaps. The breeze is behind them. American Magic jibing into that breeze. This may be a big opportunity for the Americans to come back.
Yep, they just jibed on the front edge of that puff. So that's a great spot to jibe in. So now that in the French, the puff hasn't gotten to them yet, and that's the.
This could be the key to the leg. Could be the key to the regatta yet.
That's the hard part about defending when you're leading on a run.
You need breeze.
You can't. Yep.
And there you can see the difference.
Yeah.
There's American Magic on the leading edge of this big gust coming down off the CASCAIS coast. In the meantime, Allegri not in the breeze either. Paprec managing to soak down onto them just a little bit.
I think Paprec did a smart move there. You know, they jibe, yeah, it's not ideal, but hopefully they get the pressure soon enough and try and minimize the losses here to American Magic.
And we just looked, we can see the boat speeds. American Magic just now doing 20.8 knots. Paprec doing 15, so 5 knots of speed differential just now. The puff will come down to Paprec, I think, in the next 20 seconds perhaps. Maybe not. An American Magic choose to jibe here, Dougie.
Yeah, so potentially, I'm not sure we're on ley line yet, but you know, this is a question that looks like there's a bit more of a light spot if American Magic kept going. So this is the fingers of the puff, and you're just trying to stay in the on the front edge of the puff. You know, all the good 49er sailors know that trick.
So quickly on board with American Magic. They have Paprec in their sights now on this downwind. Louise, what are you seeing downwind?
Andy, wow, the pressure differences are massive here on this downwind. I feel on the upwind it's a bit easier. You go to the right side and then there comes this right shift, right acceleration. But this downwind is definitely crazy. I first liked where Alpha Plus jibed, and then they got into more pressure with Sled together and Gladiator, and then the pressure died again. And this doesn't seem like pressure that is really coming down to you. No, you have to actively sail in it and then stay in it, which is the most difficult thing, because once you're out of it, it takes so much time again to find new pressure. But that was great here by Alpha Plus. They're in the second position now. They made a big comeback. I always feel like when that team is one time in front and they are in the right side of the course, they are also having a good potential to win races or finish strong because they're fast. But this race is not over yet at all, Andy. For that it's way too gusty, and I can't tell at all if the right side will work or the left side will work, because on both outsides I can see wind. I just don't see wind in the middle. So maybe it's a good moment now to commit a little bit to one side or just protect the boats around you. But as I've said earlier, these conditions here, as crazy as they are, is the most difficult to protect the boats around you, because just 20 meters next to you can be a massive gust and you don't get into it. As we actually, maybe you can see it on the tracking, but we saw Sled accelerating and Paprec still not going forward, because Sled is just next to Paprec, but they got a gust and they could go down, stay in that gust. So very, very tricky here for that final downwind. Super gusty and shifty. I can't say at all how this will play out yet.
Interesting just watching American Magic dive there, Doogie. At first I thought they were taking themselves towards Paprec to get themselves back in contact and just be in the same stretch of water. Now they've jibed way out to the left side, investing, looking for the pressure. What do you think?
No, I think American Magic is just being aggressive here. They're not afraid to jibe. They're confident in their boat handling in these conditions, and they're just going to go after every little puff they can get. And if they can jibe twice and pass one or two boats, it's going to get them a lot closer. And it looks like they're within 2-3 boats now of Paprec just by doing those 2 extra jibes. So they're playing it smart here. They're trying to, like we talked about yesterday, just small gains here, and Terry's being aggressive on using the puffs just to get himself closer.
Meantime then, the South African team on Phoenix rolling through the finish line for the win in race number 9 here at Rolex TP52 World Championship. It's their second win off the Regatta. They're lying in 9th place going into this race, and that win will elevate them up the leaderboard on this crucial final day of the World Championship. In the meantime, we're watching the main protagonists come down this final run. Paprec a little bit slow. They've not been able to find the pressure the way that American Magic have. American Magic are now 4 boats behind. Paprec need 5 really.
Yeah, Paprec got a little caught up in traffic there. They got caught up with the leg which kept them from jibing, and now I think that's Sled down there. So that's always mindful, is when you're in the pack there, it kind of limits your time and opportunity of when you want to jibe. And American Magic was pretty open back there, and they could jibe when they want, and they took full advantage of that.
But it's really all about the pressure, and the French seem to be a little bit light for the moment, trying to keep the bow down, pointing towards the finish line as best they can in the meantime. But the breeze really is shifty. Look at the different angles the teams are sailing.
Yeah, and it's significantly lighter down here at the leeward end of the race course than it was at the top end.
But I think it's a small point, but it's probably the biggest win we've seen in terms of distance and time this season by the Phoenix team. Gladiator jibing for the finish line, I would imagine. Paprec just keeping going. Pressure line coming down to the this area of this group of the fleet. And then Patrick jibing. Dougie, your thoughts? They seem to be quite starved of breeze.
Yeah, that's a rough jibe. You know, we're bottom range with jib up jibing, so you got to kind of change a little bit how you jibe in these conditions.
But yeah, they're all in the same lull, aren't they? American Magic rolled into the same line.
Yeah, I mean, I would say both teams are going to be happy with what they've done here, but the French got themselves, you know, out of a pretty big hole and kept their championships hopes alive, and if not, you know, they improved their chances. You know, and Terry dug himself out of a bit of a hole there where they're, you know, potentially not ahead on the last race, and I think they're still going to be able to keep their lead.
Alpha Plus through, getting a good second through the finish line now. Sean and Tina Kang's team from Hong Kong seem quite adept at finishing on a high note. Then come Gladiator through for third. Good race for them all in all. Next will be Allegra. I think pretty happy with that, I'd imagine, Dougie.
Yeah, I mean they kind of hung it out there on their own on the beat, on the first beat. And it wasn't looking good there for a while, and they've done a great job pulling off a very salvageable race.
So this is looking interesting for Paprec and American Magic. Paprec will come through now with fifth. Sixth will be Sled. Could be between Platoon Aviation and American Magic, both racing for the line. I think American Magic will just get there by a few meters. So advantage still, I think, with American Magic. Paprec fifth, American Magic eighth. 2-point advantage still to the Americans.
Yeah, I mean Terry's big thing is, you know, always going into the last race with a chance to win, and he has that, you know, with a 2-point bonus. But you know, I think he'll still be kicking himself a little bit for that first run and giving away a lead to Paprec.
Not as much as the French will be kicking. Well, will they be kicking themselves about the start? Because at the end of the day, they got out of jail, and they worked hard, and they got themselves, you know, the same kind of useful result going into the last race. They would love to have done better, of course. Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had a shock of a start, but you know, what they did in that race was remarkable on the beat. So you would take that, and you know, these shifty race courses, there's opportunities, and you know, we usually say the start's very important, but sometimes there are times where the start is not always as important.
Louise, your thoughts on that race? As you say, it was a little bit of a casino, but good performance by the Paprec, coming away with, or certainly reducing their deficit on the American team, and I think probably almost guaranteeing themselves the podium. May that be the curse of the commentator. But Louise, your thoughts on that race?
Andy, I think Casino describes it best, because you don't really know whether the right side worked better, the left side worked better. And also in Italian, there's such a funny expression, che casino. So that means like, oh my God, what a mess. And I think that describes best this race. What a mess. The French starting so bad, and then recovering themselves. Alpha Plus recovering themselves. Gladiator recovering themselves. Phoenix winning by miles. Wow, what a lead did they have. They sailed in their own entire league, out of touch, sailing their own race, keeping it cool and simple. Well, okay, so Phoenix showed that it can be easy. It didn't look easy for the other boats, but it was an easier race for Phoenix, and I am more excited than ever now for this last race. I think pressure is on the teams. I think we've seen American Magic struggling. We've seen them already struggling yesterday, but same for Paprec. They were very lucky now recovering. So both teams are struggling. Also Sled struggling. This next race, any boat can win it because conditions are crazy and all these boats are so good.
Louise, the breeze seems quite a little bit more variable down the course. It's quite light down towards the start line, but the looks of things, is that just a phase or is that a general trend, do you think?
Actually, I think, Andy, the wind is lighter here at the starting line and then really has this peak on the upwind mark, like an iceberg, you know, when it's like just super, super windy on the top and less on the bottom. And I think this is because the wind twists around that mountain and also then accelerates there close to the shore, because on the right side I can see a lot of white on the water and on the left side a lot less. So I think this is a geographical effect, and it makes it so interesting and so patchy and tricky on that downwind. I don't know how many jibes the boat did, because I got lost in counting and I'm not very good in counting, but they did plenty of jibes on that final downwind here.
Thanks, Louise. Let's have a look at the leaderboard before we take a short break then. A 2-point lead still then for American Magic over Paprec, 35 points versus 37. 42 now for Sled. Sled are 9 points clear of Alcedo Vitamina. In turn, looking at the differential for Paprec, 37 versus 51, then you can imagine that Paprec should be sure of their first ever podium place in their history in the 52 Super Series. Alcedo Vitamina have got an outside chance of their second podium in a row on 51 points, but they have Gladiator 1 point behind on 52, Allegra 54, Phoenix up to 7th place on 55, Platoon Aviation on 60, Value on 61, Alpha Plus finishing second there on 69, and Prevezza having a little bit of a nightmare of a regatta all in all in 11th place. Dougie, your thoughts on what we're going to see in this second race? What needs to happen? American Magic and Paprec, Sled. I mean, we kind of think the podium should be fairly settled.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Paprec is never afraid to get down and dirty in the starts. We see them, they're not afraid to be aggressive. I would say American Magic tends to not be that aggressive in a match race situation. You probably want to try and keep it a little more mellow and just, play it all on the race course after the start. But I think Paprec's not afraid to take the fight to him, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a little tussle.
Indeed, I think the confidence will be key. Anyway, we're going to take a little bit of a break. The warning signal should be for 14:05, and so the action continues on this big finale, the final day of the Rolex TP52 World Championship, with American Magic Quantum Racing holding a small lead into the final race. Join us again in a few minutes.
Showing up, now we're here. Yeah, the first step is showing up, hear them cheer. Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. We're blowing up, hear them cheer. If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. You gotta give it all you got, you gotta let them know. You are on another level, you are ruthless. There's no room for us, there's no room for us. I said, darling, can you see? There's no room for us, there's no room. Now our lives are changing, promises keep slipping, and I always knew it wasn't you, it wasn't you. It There's no room for us. There's no room for us. I said, darling, can you see? There's no room for us. There's no room. Now our lives are changing. Promises keep slipping. And I always knew it wasn't you. It wasn't you. Now our lives are changing. Promises keep slipping. And I always knew it fall into a damaged space, out of sync and out of tune. A frequency I can't undo. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man man alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Why you look surprised when we've done this all before? I'm not sure the highs really make up for the lows. When words don't work and I get hurt, somehow I feel like I'm the worst. Manipulation overload, but babe, this time I'll steal the show. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a step is showing up, now we're here. Yeah, the first step is showing up, hear them cheer. Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. We're blowing up, hear them cheer. If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. You gotta give it all you got, you gotta let them know. You are on another level, you are ruthless.
Well, after that thrilling penultimate race of this Rolex TP52 World Championship here in CASCAIS, the breeze is still in. We're on this, what Louise calls a random little bit of a casino race course. The stage is set with American Magic Quantum Racing rolling into the big finale with a 2-point lead over Paprec. Sled are on 42 points. Just behind the Paprec American Magic, it's a 2-point lead. Really, Paprec are assured of their first ever podium place, and otherwise Sled look to be pretty solid for a third. But Doogie, what can happen in this race in terms of the world title?
Well, I think it's going to be it's obviously a it's going to be a tight match between Quantum and Paprec, and you know, like we said earlier, we think Paprec could potentially be pretty aggressive in the pre-start here. You know, they got a little match race background. I expect Terry to be a little bit more try and stay out of the fray and try and make it count on the beat and pick the right shifts and get ahead that way. So I expect Quantum American Magic to be in a bit of a try and defensive positions here and try and stay away from getting attacked.
And Sled, what could they do? It's a little bit of a mountain for them to climb, but it's not impossible on this race course, is it?
No, it's not. You know, the two boats,
if they get engaged,
and they finish, last and all the way in the back, then and they win the race, and there's something. There's always a potential there, but they also have to be aware of where their points are compared to fourth place and not get off the podium.
Louise, your thoughts then? You're on the start line. It's shaping up nicely. Say only 2 points between American Magic, who are heading for their 8th title, and the Blues, the Paprec team, the pretenders to the title.
Andy, I want to see some actions. We have the world best sailors here on the water, legends from America's Cups, from match race. I want to learn something, so please, teams, American Magic and Paprec, give us some action. And it really looks like it. I saw Paprec going early onto starport, actually aiming for American Magic, so they're aggressive. They want to go for it. They want to win that world championship title. They just have this one shot, so why would you slit it? Who cares finishing second or third? They have the podium secured, so this is about winning it, because we know how to spell fun, right? W-I-N.
Indeed we do, and Paprec and American Magic alongside each other. Of course, Cedric Chateau, a French championship match racer in his own right. Loic Perron has done some America's Cups and various different other things. Meantime, American Magic. Doogie, what's your thoughts on the way they're shaping up on this line?
Well, both boats have kind of, engaged a little bit. Now they've settled down and they're on the final approach here. So now it's just good, making sure pulling the trigger. Paprec has a decent gap to windward. I'd say American Magic is a little bit tight with Phoenix and not vulnerable, but they probably wish they had a little more space to lure it. So I would give a little bit, the benefit to Paprec right now. Indeed.
Well, let's see how it goes off the start line. We're on board with American Magic, keeping an eye on them. We can see Phoenix a little bit vulnerable to Phoenix, they would think. At the moment, Phoenix can squeeze up. Perhaps Paprec in the final second, just as Doogie said, pulling the trigger, all clear off the start line.
Yeah, that was a good start by Paprec. They're in a precious situation. They weren't over early. They were close to the line. Seems like they're at good speed. And they're probably a slightly bow forward on American Magic here.
So what can American Magic do from here?
American Magic's got to, not do anything crazy. And that's usually not Terry's repertoire, so they're in good shape. But they're going to keep it close, not do anything crazy. We've seen that it's a shifty race course and anything can happen. So they're going to try and stay close to Paprec.
In the meantime, nice start from Preveza towards the pin end of the line. A couple of boats peeling off out to the right. Louise, your thoughts on this start, please?
I love the start by Paprec there. I think they were in super much control. It really seemed like American Magic kind of tried to solve the situation, but if you start in windward of another boat, you're just stronger than the leeward boat. Also because we've seen that this is more a right side upwind track in particular, so now they control American Magic. They can do with them whatever they want, and this is super good if you're on board Paprec, and roaring if you're on American Magic, because Paprec is aggressive and they want to go for their world champion title. So now they just have to stay in front of American Magic and try to put some boats in between them, and for now it looks very, very good for them. American Magic here has to tag out, and they're already a lot of meters behind Paprec, going with them, matching their tag, giving them bad air. So this race at the moment looks pretty much will work out well for Paprec, but we have to wait until the end. The course is still the same, so we have a 355 bearing to the upwind mark, 2 nautical miles long, so that didn't change the course at all. So at the upwind mark we have the right shift and a lot of wind, whilst in the middle of the course it's a bit more tricky, patchy, and we can really get some big action there between Paprec and American Magic. American Magic now tagged out to the left again. I wonder if Paprec will go and cover them, or if they will now sail their own race as they already have an advantage. I already said in the race before that in these conditions it's difficult to just go with the boat and think that you are covering the boat in that moment. You have to invent a little bit more, because the wind is so crazy out here that if you just go in the same direction like the other, you can lose a lot, because you are just out of the wind or out of the shift as the other boat. So definitely a difficult day here to do a classic match race. This is a bit more inventing match race.
Indeed, Louise. I think that's what Paprec have decided. Dougie choosing not to stay with American Magic and stay with the fleet, as it were. Yeah. Because, of course, they need boats between them and American Magic, don't they?
Yeah, they need a couple boats between them too. But it also, Paprec's main was flapping a little bit there after, and so not sure if they had a little override or something wasn't right. But when American Magic tacked on to starboard, Paprec seemed to have a little issue and didn't
just
follow.
A little bit of a hesitation before they followed.
Yeah, so not sure if that was intentional or they've been kind of forced in going straight.
But looking interesting up this first upwind. Louise, are you liking the right or the left on this upwind?
I'm just here leeward of Preveza, and for now I'm in a lot of pressure. So Preveza is at least sailing in 20 knots or even more here. Big gust for Preveza. So not a bad moment to be here on that left side, but I still think that there's the right shift and the right pressure at the last third of the upwind. So you kind of want to position yourself well, that you're taking this to your advantage. So I like what the boats are doing now, all on port, sailing to the right side, and it's so hard to say if the left side has a chance or not. Like we've seen it at the first upwind of the race before, where Phoenix and Allegro actually had this nice left shift here in the middle of the upwind that gave the kick-off there for Phoenix to get this massive lead to the other boats. But this can change now in this upwind, so super exciting, and this will be a bit of a casino race as well again.
It will be just exactly what we need, exactly what we want for this big finale final race to decide who's going to be the Rolex TP52 World Champions of 2025. The upper hand is with American Magic. They're 2 points clear. Paprec proving they want to take the championship to the Americans. And they are 5th and 6th at the moment on opposite sides of this split on the upwind. Preveza looking good for the meantime. Phoenix shaping up for a decent day, but the majority are heading right, Dougie.
Yeah, we got a bit of a two groups here again. We got a right group and a left group. Both groups are on port tack, kind of drag racing out to the right. So it won't take much of a shift to make a big difference either way. So everybody's kind of biding their time and seeing what's going to happen. But we did see the left boats pay quite handsomely on the previous race. So we'll see if that replicates itself or not.
Certainly Phoenix did more or less the same as what they're doing at the moment. But I think that was as much pressure, wasn't it, on the first upwind last time. They just had a little bit of a private breeze up the middle of the course. Platoon Aviation, probably the best of the boats on the right just now, Doogie.
Yeah, Platoon's going well. It seems like they're leading the group right now, and like we talked about, if you can at least lead your group, it's going to give you a good chance, and that's what they're doing right now. Just play the 5-6 boats they have around them and stay ahead of them.
How are the conditions, Louise? They're not looking quite as strong as the previous race. Certainly just looking at our images from on board Platoon Aviation. It looks quite manageable at the moment.
Platoon Aviation, I think, is in the right group. Yeah, I can see them now. I'm just here on top of Provetza, and where I am right now here, there is a lot of wind. I think we have like 18-20 knots here on the left side, a bit more than we've seen on the second leg in the race we had before. There were some lulls, and now I can see the first boat actually crossing here behind all the other boats, going more out to the left. And yeah, hard to say, Andy, what side will come in first. This is a real nail biter. You definitely want to be maybe at the outsides, so the pressure will hit you first and the gust, the shift come first to you. Provetza looks really nice here at the moment. They had such a tough week. Wow, we actually usually see Provetza more in the front of the overall leaderboard, but they have really, really a hard week. So it's good to see them now again so much in front here from the left side. But it is shifty and it is gusty, and we have to wait once the right group is in the right pressure and can tack onto starboard, because before that we don't understand at all what side will work out better.
But looking good just now for Provetza, and they really could do with finishing with a race win. They've had a really pretty torrid regatta. I think 3 11ths in a row. Hopefully they can break that string. But Doogie, a team which have been so good in the past, what do you think was going wrong with them at the moment?
They've a couple of mechanical issues. They've broken a couple kites, and that always is such a chain reaction when you break a spinnaker. First of all, just in that race itself, obviously that you have to either go for another kite or get another kite up. But then obviously that kite is done. It was probably a first line kite. So now you're going to your backup kites. So the chain reaction of mechanical breakdowns like that is costly, and I think they've broken a couple spinnakers this event. So there's a cascade reaction that's pretty costly.
So looking then, Paprec seem to be going pretty well up this beat. American Magic we're not seeing so often in terms of our live images, but they're on the left and they're doing pretty well. Oh, there we go. They're just lured off Phoenix still, but
yeah, I mean, we can see people, Phoenix, we can see people are hiking right up to the shroud, so we're definitely in a slightly lighter situation than the previous race. And it does seem like that left-hand group is kind of pulling ahead here a little bit on the right-hand group. So we have Paprec and American Magic, in 3 and 4 on the tracker right now, so it's all pretty close.
It's all about getting out to that right shift. We feel certainly that was the case in the last race, setting up for the ley line.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that massive puff is up at the top mark again.
Louise, what are you seeing further up the beat?
And yeah, I can see a lot of pressure further up the beat and a lot more on the right side than on the left side. And for a while we had a super big left shift here, so Provatzer and Phoenix, they were in a lot of pressure, putting their bow already to the upward mark, so that seemed like that they were already on ley line, and now the wind shifted to the right more again. So the right shift I've been talking about before is still there. I think I can see the pressure clearly on the water, a lot of right close to the shore. So I'm so excited because this is such a thrilling moment now. If you're on American Magic boats or if you're on Paprick boats, like, the wind is crazy out here today. So this is a little bit out of control. So you can really just like pray and hope this turns out well for where you are. So if you're American Magic on the left or Paprick on the right, but I'm here with the left group. They have less pressure than the boats on the right group. So if I would be on American Magic now, I would be nervous, very, very nervous, losing my world champion title here in this final race.
Well, let's see how that plays out. But at the moment, the small advantage is perhaps with Paprick in terms of position relative to the shift. But it's all about leverage, isn't it, Doogie?
Yeah, I mean, this is as much of a drag race as we've seen in this regatta. Everybody's been on the same board now for a while. We just see the first boat coming out of the right attacking now, but everybody's been on the same board. Just just a speed test right now. Just really trying to get over to the right side and gain any advantage they can from the shift that they're getting. A little bit different here, where it seems like it's more of a geographic shift as opposed to a shift coming down the course. So the teams really have to go and get it, as opposed to wait for it to come down the course and use it.
Interesting. I mean, when you talk about a speed test, Paprick are pretty quick, aren't they, upwind?
They sell, over the last couple of years, every year they get a little bit quicker. And this year is for sure, we've all noticed that, now they are a quick team in upwind and down.
One of the newer boats in the fleet, of course, other than the three latest generation boats which were built last year. Of course, Paprick is the next to newest boat, converging just now with Platoon Aviation. But they both seem to be sailing quite high angles and opposite tacks.
Yeah.
That's the nature of this course, isn't it?
Something's going to change.
But what a finale, what a great race. In some respects, you wouldn't have it any other way for this big title decider. Closing up to the ley line for this first windward mark, final race of 10.
Okay, French going into attack here, so get a better feel for how this is going to line up between Paprick and American Magic over the next 4 minutes.
How do we feel Platoon's position is generally? They were leading that right-hand group.
Yeah, and they're right there. They got a soft lee bow from Paprick, so Platoon has a little bit of room to breathe. So it should be in a relatively safe situation here to get around the mark.
So how do we set up for this ley line? How do we choose the ley line when it's so shifty and there's this big, as we say, geographic shift?
This is where the navigators earn their keep. They have to call a ley line, but nobody wants to overstand, and so they really have to take their best guess of what kind of shift they think they're going to see and what the current's going to do, and the computer's going to tell them something, but they also have to look outside the box and get a best guess and provide that information to the tactician as to where that actual ley line is.
On board then with Platoon Aviation, Jules Salter, the navigator, giving his best guess.
Yeah, Jules is obviously a world-class navigator. Only talks when needs to be said. No excess communication, and a lot of common sense sailing. And he's a very head out of the boat navigator.
So just watching as American Magic come back on port. I think they'll tack in quite comfortably into strong position. Phoenix to weather of them, and this will be the key move for American Magic tacking on the bow of Paprec.
Yeah, and American Magic here is going to be, pretty low risk, no penalties. They execute that tack cleanly. They're ahead, so you got to be pretty happy with. They would be really happy with, the situation they're in here, and now it's just to make sure, they be careful about the split on the run.
So approaching this windward mark, it's bow down for Phoenix, repeating the performance of the previous race. Not quite as big a lead this time.
Not yet.
Not yet. Provezza coming round second. Third will be American Magic, I think, Louise.
Andy, I'm at the Upwind mark here, and there's a big gust hitting in here. Wow, it's super interesting how much the right group overstood that ley line, and that also gave the left group, where there was Phoenix, the 3 leading boats inside, now the chance to be in the front, because the right group overstood that ley line by so much. Breeze is completely on here. Wow, water is flying. This is incredible. I hope the boats will be all good now going downwind. It will be interesting to see who will go for the jibe set, who won't go for the jibe set. Paprec has to do something if they want to win that World Championship title, but it's difficult if you're once behind, because I'm sure American Magic doesn't want this to happen. So let's see, they have to invent something, they have to do something better, or wait for a mistake for American Magic. So let's see how this turns out. But for now, here at the Upwind mark, breeze is really on.
Indeed, and American Magic rolling into their jibe. Paprec are set and heading down this downwind. Doogie, what did Paprec do? Do they stay with American Magic or do their own thing?
Well, I think Paprec has to kind of do their own thing here at this point, because they need not only be in front, but they need a couple boats between them. I think Terry's move on American Magic was pretty smart there. It looks like there was big pressure over on that side. Yeah, probably a little bit risky here, getting some leverage, but looking at just Paprec does look like they're in softer pressure compared to Quantum Racing. So this could be a big decider here. Terry's confident that the pressure is increasing.
Let's keep an eye on the tracker and see how it looks. But Paprec, yeah, maybe a little bit lighter pressure, but they do seem to have a good angle, and they are rolling into their jibe just now. American Magic look like they've gained relative to Provezza. So just the one boat between the two main protagonists. We're on the first run of the final race of the Rolex TP52 World Championship here in CASCAIS. CASCAIS has delivered all week, and we have a different race course. It's too breezy out on the main race course, so we're just slightly into the river, and you can see these big squalls, these big gusts rolling down the race course. But at the same time, there are localized holes, quieter spells that you have to miss. And go on, Doogie.
We've seen that, top, facing upwind, the top right side, consistently be puffier, and with some bigger puffs rolling in. We see it upwind, and we do see it downwind also, and that quick jibe seems to be paying off.
Look at the difference between American Magic just now and Paprec. Paprec are a long way back now.
Yeah, so Terry saw the puff on American Magic and went for it, took it to the jugular for Paprec. He's really he's going to kick him while they're down.
Indeed, I mean, as we said at the mark, I think the key thing for them was, did they go where they had less chance of putting boats between them and the Americans? And in the end, they've lost out big time. They haven't lost boats, but they've lost distance.
Yeah, I think Paprec's going to, they have a lot of work to do here. They were conservative around the set. Quantum was pretty aggressive in getting a jibe in and getting a jump on the puff. And it's going to be, they got to do some more work on the upwind.
Indeed, so American Magic very much in the box seat, chasing their 8th title. It'll be a big a big one for the young Americans who've not won a world title and with the programme. Of course, won in Bayona last month in much, much different conditions. But Doogies, tell us more about sailing with Terry in terms of the fine detail. He's a perfectionist.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
I'm good at them.
Terry will look for every single little, centimeter, quarter inch that you could get out of the boat. And when you're on there, you have to be, when you're sailing with him, you have to be at the top of your game. And if you make a hiccup,
you'll know about it.
You and everybody else will know about it.
In the same postcode.
So you have to be, you have to be at the top of your game when you're sailing with him. So he asks a lot of himself, but he asks a lot of everybody else around him.
And certainly it's paying off for them at the moment, and indeed in terms of the chase for the world title. In second, and they now have 6 boats or 7 boats between them and Paprec.
Yeah, I mean, American Magic's pretty good position here. Seems like they might be able to make it in on this to the lower gate on this one. And Paprec, has at least 1 or 2 more jives in.
So there we go, the projected points were positions to stay the same. American Magic would win in the end by 8 points. Paprec would come away with second, silver medal for them. I think in the end they'd probably be quite happy with that in the greater scheme of things. I think they'd be disappointed to lose out to the Americans, having been so close, but never been on the podium so far.
Just quickly looking here on the run, Phoenix and the boat that's right behind me, yeah, super soft. We see jibs coming down. So just when we thought it was all going okay.
At the curse of the commentator.
It's gone horribly wrong.
That's amazing.
So jibs are down now. So, potentially, if teams have staysails plugged in, they're going to start looking at getting those up and going.
It's not over yet.
What a massive hole.
Platoon Aviation got the chance to maybe get round.
It's definitely not over yet.
Go on, Louise.
Yeah, and conditions get full. Yeah, conditions are full crazy here. I would say the lull the boats just had, they were maybe 5 knots. I was just so close to the boats. And then the other gust where Paprec was in, or also where the boats at the complete other side are in, have 20 knots. So the wind got more crazy actually than what we've seen before. So this race is not over at all yet, and this is such a crucial and big day for the strategists who are supporting the tacticians now all the time, feeding in information, trying to support, trying to tell them where they see the next pressure. So Victor Diaz on American Magic probably now speaking the whole time with Terry, not trying to confuse him too much, because that's a super thin balance. The teams have to figure out how much input they want by their tactician and by the strategist to the tactician. But this is a very, very interesting race. So 3 groups. The group at the right side, no wind. The group in the middle, a lot of wind. And the other group on the left side, also now jiving, might be the winning group. They might have made the most meters good, but this can stay changed onto the boat side, the downwind, and it's kind of difficult to estimate where the pressure will come in first, because it's so local and not moving at all. So the boats that immediately jibed after the upwind mark had that nice pressure and the acceleration that was all the time there at the shore with the right shift. But this is so local, so once you jibe out from there, you're running out of pressure. So exactly what we saw. Interesting also now Gladiator, the furthest boat to the right side. Kite is completely collapsed, no wind. Wow, what a race. Really, really nail-biting, full of headache.
So maybe Paprec able to get back into this just a little bit. Time for cool heads on American Magic as best as possible. Don't think there's been any significant place changes is just about the differentials on the water.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the the boat speeds on the tracker, and for Pat Blake's going 13 knots and Quantum's going 10. Earlier it was 12 and 8, so there's a 4 to 3 knot boat speed difference, and at some point that's gonna add up.
Indeed, yes, Paprec have come round the outside quite nicely in the end, chasing Provezza, getting themselves up to 4th. American Magic in 6th, just as we were saying that how great American Magic were looking, that big localized hole coming into play. So this is not over yet, Louise.
No, and Andy, all the boats will arrive together at the downwind gate. So now you don't only have to look for the wind, the pressure, the lulls, the shift. Now you also have to position yourself super wisely to don't get another penalty. So full on here, really, really tricky. I don't know who will round this mark first. Wow, everyone will arrive at the same time in this tiny gate.
Indeed, Provezza, I think, coming in first. Will go to the left-hand marking upwind. Paprec coming in with a earlier drop, although Alpha Plus will go round in front of them with Mark Room Doogie.
Oh, just watching Paplec's rounding. Yeah, they got to clean up their drops there. It was messy.
And now they've stalled a little bit because of that.
They're really slow, I think.
Meantime, American Magic coming in round, and that's costing Paprec.
Yeah, I mean, Paprec needs to be error-free here. If they want to have a chance at beating American Magic, you have to be clean around these marks. They tend to be a little bit on the conservative side on the drops.
And they paid for it there because they ended up slowed when they needed to be accelerating into the mark, or at least keeping up their speed.
Yeah, they were conservative. They were early drop and messy drop, which...
And in the end now they're compounding that, going straight into the tack with very little speed. They're trying to come back at American Magic or get back at them. Be interesting to see how the angles play out. I feel like Paprec port starboard with American Magic. American Magic have the starboard tack advantage.
Yeah, I think we're going to expect a little bit of
slam.
Match racing here for a little bit. So the Quantum's going to defend the right side. They must be happy going out there. They're happy with the pressure.
So all to play for still on this second upwind, Louise. Paprec just behind American Magic now. American Magic back with the upper hand after those nervous minutes coming into that lure gate.
Absolutely, Andy. I'm just here leeward of Alpha Plus going to the left side where Alpha Plus and also Provezza made these gains on the downwind. It's interesting, Alpha Plus is really always winning today on the downwind. That's good to see for that team. So now this is the question, will the left come in again so strong? Or is it again the right shift? But then the boats should really be careful not over sailing too much over the ley line, because this is when they lose all the meters and give the boats from the left side the chance. But super hard to judge. Like, how do you want to calculate how big the shift is coming in, how strong the wind will be, what will be the current? So the iPads, they can do a lot. The navigators are super good, but in the end this is nature. You can't predict everything. So this is still very, very much open. Now American Magic and Paprec, both boats sailing here to the left side. I think American Magic is right now in a stronger position because they are further to the right. But if I just see the boat speeds of the boat, I see Paprec sailing faster than American Magic. Super localized pressure, crazy wind here. This is very difficult and so open still. Who will win the world champion title? Oh my god, nail biting. I'm so excited.
Indeed, I think Terry Hutchinson just trying to keep cool and keep processing the information that's coming to him all the time, watching the breeze. But it's all on Doogie, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're watching, like we talk about, consequences of mistakes, and Paprec had a messy drop down there, and it seems like kite sheets got a little messed up and things got messy, and they had a guy on the bow for a little bit there trying to clear a kite sheet, and now he's going down below to clean up the kite. It's going to take longer to clean up the kite. It's probably wet, and so he's going to be down there for a little bit longer, and that's time off the rail. Time that American Magic will have more people on the rail and going faster.
Briefly, as bowman, what's it like in there sorting out the kite? What's the process? What is he doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think every bowman has their own little technique, but generally, you at the leeward mark, you take your last look at what the spinnaker looks like, and you kind of memorize that of how clean it is or twisted it is. And you take that when you go downstairs and you coordinate with the rest of the team when it's a good time to go clean it, and you go down and you pretty much start. Usually, I start running the red tape from the clew because it usually ends up being on top, and then you work your way to the top and down to the tack. I generally time myself so you kind of have an idea as to how long it's taking and what's going on upstairs.
What's your quickest?
Quickest is
just in general. They're just
inside 1 minute 30 seconds is a fast one. An average one would be a 1 minute 45, and then 2 minutes is a little extra work.
That's when they're shouting at you.
They rarely shout, but yeah, sometimes
because you can't hear them.
Yeah, exactly.
But everything playing out here between Paprec, American Magic, really going up and down the leaderboard. And more, it's interesting because boats are coming into the fray, Louise, between Paprec and American Magic. American Magic a little bit in traffic, Louise.
Oh, Andy, this is like such a nail biter. Sometimes the bows point down, and then American Magic is losing a lot, and Paprec is winning, and then American Magic starts to put the bow up again because they have a right shift. So that's when Paprec is losing, and American Magic is winning. So I hope they have better nerves on these boats than I do, because wow, I can almost not watch that. How exciting I find this. So Paprec now has to go further to the left side to get a free lane. Bayou with tech now onto port. I think they will maybe deck Paprec, so that gives then Paprec the chance to soon tech to the right side, which would be a good idea for Paprec, because also American Magic is now on port, sailing to the right, and it's time to go to the upwind mark. We are here already at the left side of the course. There's a lot of wind. That's very interesting that the wind is so strong here to the left as well. I'm currently here just on top of Paprec and Bayou, and there is a gust again of 20 knots. We've seen this, the upwind before, but I still expect that there will be the right shift and right pressure at the right side. So now if you're here on the left side, like Paprec or Bayou or Alpha Plus, Provencer, then you want to put the bow down and just sail as fast as you can.
At the shift, Doogie.
Yeah, so we're back, it seems to be geographic, right? There seems to be, better pressure on the top right-hand side of the course, and you got to get there at some point to use it.
Interesting, just looking at that shot then, Paprec have got slightly more pressure. Once again, American Magic a little bit lighter, but going for the shift, trying to get the shift earlier on that right side.
Yeah, Quantum looks on the track there, you look like they're a little bit headed also, and probably a little bit less pressure. So advantage Paprec right now.
A little bit precarious then for the Americans.
I mean, it's changed. We've tried to project this, but 3 times this race. It's changed every time.
My heart can't take it. I'm sorry.
So
I'm completely.
It goes to show that at some point you just got to race with the wind that's around you. And like Louis said, it's not a great match racing day, so you got to kind of mix and match the two a little bit and figure out, how close you stay to your competitor versus, take off and find your own puff. And we saw on that first run, first part of the run, Quantum took off and found that first part of the puff and went really well, and then ran out of wind on the second half. So it's tough out there.
In the meantime, the good news is that Platoon Aviation are leading.
Yeah, it's great to see Platoon having a good race, so we definitely need it.
No matter what, you always want to finish your regatta on a high note. That's the race you'll remember, hopefully. And Vasco in his element, Doogie, isn't he, really? You said he loves these kind of conditions.
Yeah, he likes these offshore shifty conditions. Platoon's been strong in those conditions in the past, in Valencia last year and this stuff, and offshore breezes. So anytime these shifts are, seemingly random to most people, Vasco seems to sniff them out.
White shoes are a big thing in the Platoon.
Well, Vasco's wearing shoes, so that's an upgrade.
Interesting. Anyway, Paprec looking at the French team. So much left in this race, it's painful. Really, Paprec in 6th, American Magic in 9th.
Yeah, and we're back into this drag race situation again where everybody's on port tack, just, trying to hold their spot, hold some clean air, but trying to get as fast as possible to that right side.
I'm not sure what Jean-Luc Petithuguenin, how his heart is at this moment. The owner of Paprec, biggest triumph I think way back was in Key West or Miami a few years ago, and he was elated to win a race. At the moment they're leading the World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's all bets are off here. We're not going to predict anything.
No, we're not.
But we still see, Paprec is still not settled. They're still getting the boat cleaned up from that lurid mark rounding. They're still, getting some kite sheets sorted, trying to get the kite packed up and ready to go again. So, there is a performance loss there.
And a little bit in check with their value just now on that left side, but
yeah, I mean, they're trying to, hold their lane. Probably in a bit of a fast mode here, make sure they don't get rolled.
But once again, looking at the tracker, you look at the angles they're sailing on that left side of the track, looking upwind, pretty much pointing directly at the mark in a little bit of a lift. And when we know the geographical lift comes in where Platoon are, so picking the ley line, at the moment the ley line's almost in the middle of the course, isn't it?
Yeah, and the left-hand group is actually almost overstood right now for the top mark, so that'll probably change, but at this point, it's a dicey situation.
Anyway, briefly on board with Paprec. Blake Perron all the time watching the breeze. Gets a lot of assistance, I think, from Valentin Sipan, who's the former 470 junior world champion, who's the trimmer this week.
Yeah, and even Luik says he's always a relaxed guy. I'm willing to bet he's got, just seeing how he's moving on the boat right now, I think he's got a little more tension than he'll lead us to believe.
He's like Vasco in 10 years' time. Yeah. I mean, he's never been in this situation before. This is all new for him in terms of Grand Prix World Championship, and he's absolutely loving it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who's gone around the world.
Held the Jules Verne record.
Yeah,
with the
catamarans,
full crew,
and trimarans, and Southern Ocean storms, and that's pretty extreme. And here he is getting a little stressed out on a little day race.
A little day race. No stress on the Platoon Aviation at all. They are up and down. I think Vasco was getting a little upset with the French in the last upwind when the French were in front of him. But besides everything else, I think there's been a growing and now considerable respect for the French and what they've done, not just in this event, but it's a great advert for the class and for the 52 Super Series generally.
This is not a one-off. They were strong in Bayona. They were strong towards the end of last season. So, it's not a one-off. They're going well. They're consistently at the top of the fleet. But we've seen this from all the teams. We've seen this from Vayu, in Newport last year. We've seen this from Alpha. Every team has their event. And it goes to show how deep the fleet is and how strong the fleet is. And every team has a good event, and every team has bad events.
And as we were saying yesterday with the Paprec team, a number of them are have day jobs, as it were. We've got a taxi driver, we've got a guy who runs a medical start-up, we have a guy who works for the TGV, the French Railways in La Rochelle, scheduling the trains, and they've got some pro sailors.
Is that why they're always on strike?
Steady now. Anyway, they're on time at the moment, but and they're coming in with quite a nice ley line, I think, looking at our other images.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they're, yeah, like we said, they're slightly overstood, so their mains are a little bit eased. They're all on a fast mode here. So the left-hand group has come out strong here.
Slightly different approach then on this upwind.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen the upper left pay.
Shaping up to be a good day for the Phoenix anyway,
Yeah.
as they would want.
It's going to put a little bit more stress on the American Magic.
But in the meantime, our top 3 boats in the regatta, Paprec, Sled and American Magic, in 6th, 7th and 8th places. It's going to be all on down this final run, Louise, isn't it?
Andy, yes, I think the left side could have come even in stronger if they would not have all overstood the ley line by so much. Wow, that was so interesting to see. But also Platoon had a massive comeback. I wrote down that they rounded somewhere in 5th or 6th at Downwind Gate, and now they're in 2nd, they're in 3rd place. I don't know if Alpha Plus can make the upwind mark, Andy. This is really tight. Uh-oh.
Anyway,
Oh,
Nick
there we
Outno
go.
Johnson just doing what he does
Oh,
well.
they
He's
made
another match racer coming round the top mark. Anyway, getting round in 2nd. A good day for Alpha Plus so far. Round next are Platoon, then Phoenix. Vayu also just a little bit tight, but they'll get round comfortably in the end, or get round in the end. Let's not call it comfortable. French keeping it simple as best they can now, coming round in 6th.
Big gust hitting in here now at the upwind mark. The fully water flying again, so more than 25 knots here at the upwind mark. I felt that the gust and the pressure came in later. That gave the left side the big advantage. But wow, what are you doing now for the downwind? We have so many different downwind scenarios so far. Their life is so different when you're on American Magic right now, or on Paprec. You're fighting for the world champion title, or you're trying to defend it. Really tricky, really tough to say what you want to do now. I personally don't really know what I would do. Maybe a jibe, because there's this right pressure, but we've seen before the whole of no wind. So maybe if I would be Paprec, I don't know, I would probably try to see what American Magic is doing behind me, and then think about what I would do and act on that. But the pressure is so localized.
Indeed, Dougie, just watching Paprec coming away from that mark, they can see that American Magic are just 1 boat behind them.
Yeah, and Paprec had a nice clean set, nothing aggressive.
But they need another boat. They need another boat to win the world title.
Yeah, so they need to, they need to find something on the run here.
Set from American Magic.
Yeah, that's a classic textbook clean set. It was well executed on American Magic. Wouldn't expect anything less.
So what do they do now? They just pursue. And the kite's gone on Sled. The kite has blown up on Sled now. That has to be to American Magic's advantage.
Yeah. So that's
horrible situation for the other American team, for Takakura's team. They've got to get that kite out of the water and get another one set.
Yeah, but this is going to let American Magic through.
Yeah, exactly.
So this now the French have to, they got to start swinging for something.
I'm not sure there's much for them to swing to or swing for, is there?
No, they're gonna create some leverage with the American Magic. We need some separation somehow.
And it would be a difficult situation for Sled, but they do know that they can't. They have Alcedo at the bottom of the fleet at the moment, 11th, so it's messy, it's horrible for Sled, but they should hang on to their third place in the World Championship standings.
Well, this race cannot be any more dramatic than it is right now, to be honest. Like, so crazy winds, and now Sled breaking the kite, and American Magic going with full speed. They have a gas that never arrived to Patrick, so American Magic now really made meters good on Patrick, and Patrick is sitting here a little bit. All the crew is looking around, trying to find some wind, trying to understand how they can still overtake some boats and put boats in between them and American Magic. Like, full drama. I've never seen it so nail-biting in the TP52 series about who would take the win, and it's not over yet. I can't predict at all if Patrick can still overtake some boats or not. I'm here just windward of Patrick, and if the boats will continue a bit further, there will come pressure in, but I don't know if the pressure will last until the finish line. So for now, you really have to go step by step. You can't really invent something, right? Because you have to go with what you have and just hope that it stays and the other boats can't get it. So very, very nail-biting and very emotional. I feel the adrenaline, so I can't even imagine how much the sailors are feeling it.
Indeed, Dougie. Then Patrick have to find a way to get through Vayu and Phoenix, and that's not looking super likely at the moment, not from what we're seeing.
No, it's tough, and American Magic here is just in a follow situation where they just, they might not necessarily go the right way, but they're just going to follow Patrick and just keep him close.
Countdown through the finish line. So are the Americans counting down to their 8th world title? Looking at the projected standings at the moment, it would be American Magic Quantum Racing winning by 1 point over Patrick. Sled would be 10 points behind on 53, 59 for Phoenix. Alcedo Vitamina dropping from 4th on the strength of that super day for the Phoenix team just now. Allegra 8th, Gladiator 7th, Allegra 6th, Gladiator 7th, Platoon Aviation 8th, Value 9th, Alpha Plus 10th, and Provezza in 11th. But let's see whether there's the last throw of the dice for the French.
We can see as they're coming down here, it's getting a little bit softer, and they are getting lifted. Patrick is sailing a pretty fast high mode here. Just probably a pretty wise thing to try and make something happen. So if they can roll 2 boats from this Leeward group, then they might have something to play with. But they're running out of race course, and they're slowly getting to that ley line, and then it's going to be game over.
Let's stay positive. I mean, we've seen the last throw of the dice winning world championships before in Barcelona in particular. That's the one I remember when a certain Platoon Aviation won on the last day, or Platoon as it was then, but Patrick pushing hard, just on a little bit of a gust. Watching the boat speeds then, just now Patrick doing 18.2 knots, so the quickest boat on the race course just now. American Magic slower behind, but as Dougie said, they have to get back from this position out on the right flank.
Yeah, I mean, this group to Leeward, I'm looking at, Platoon's going 13 knots, Vayu 15 knots. So Patrick's the fastest boat of the group, but they are sailing a longer distance than everybody else.
So they have to come back on a puff. Although looking at that last shot there, we could see a big puff above them just coming in there.
Yeah.
It may still work out for the French team, but as they come through out of their jibe, they're pointing unfortunately towards Vayu. Not sure whether they can get Platoon Aviation, but so many different lead changes in this race.
Yeah, I mean,
Paprec may be able to just jive inside, perhaps. Great race, great finale. French trying to find the pressure, find or stay with the pressure, try and take some boats on this final run. Platoon Aviation come out of their jibe. The French team have momentum just now, getting themselves into the group, but they're still just American Magic maybe over 200 meters behind, but there's no boats, there's no places for the French. The French still need 2 boats between now and the finish line.
Yeah, and you can see Paprec here. They're trying to make something happen. You know, they're sailing the boat hot. They're seeing if they can roll anybody.
Loic having a quick look to leeward to see what the options are, checking the pressure.
Yeah, and it's hard because most of the group is on ley line here, straight into the finish from here.
And they're held by Platoon Aviation a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah, you know, it seems like they're sailing a slightly higher angle than Platoon. But they're still, you know, pretty far back, and the speed gains just aren't there.
So still, though, I'd imagine a few nervous moments on American Magic. They're trying to see what's happening ahead of them. You can see that big gust on the water still rolling down. But we're running out of runway, Louise, aren't we?
Oh yes, Andy, but I really like what Paprec did. You know, they went for higher mode, they saw the pressure. I saw as well when I said, okay, if the boat extend further, they will get into more breeze, and then they jibed out as one of the first boat, not on ley line yet, so that they have a chance, you know, that they can then jibe onto starboard, jibe again, and maybe get a starboard port situation with another boat, put another boat under pressure. But they really have to rely on now another boat in front of them doing a mistake, and all these boats are super good, so they don't want to do mistakes, so they're running out of runway here. But for me, they sail into pressure now, and Phoenix or Otsuvayu has less pressure than them, so this might be a chance for them, but I don't know if there is enough time to the finish, Andy.
Indeed. In the meantime, Provezza coming through with a storming finale just when they needed most, finishing with a race win for Ergen Imre. But time is running out for the French. They need 2 boats between now and the finish. Through second is Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus going 2-2 on the final day, which is pretty good. Next through will be Platoon Aviation, I think. For third, French will be through in 5th. Then Phoenix, close between Phoenix and Platoon and Paprec. But there we go. Then Paprec come through the finish line, and they'll have American Magic just behind. So the world title is heading across the Atlantic back to American Magic Quantum Racing and the New York Yacht Club for the 8th time. This is a win, and a hard-won win. The French really took it to them, but Terry Hutchison and the crew, well-deserved win. Really, they've fought hard. They've really been super consistent. They're on the ropes from time to time, but really they've shown the hallmarks of champions today, and it's an 8th world title for American Magic Quantum Racing. So near, but so far for the French. In the end, I think they'll look back after this World Championship and be happy with a second. But Dougie, it was super close for the French, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, what do we come down to? You know,
single point.
A point for a World Championship to a team, you know, that in the past, you know, hasn't been on the podium. So it's great to see the French having done so well. Quantum Racing
But the Quantum team have been, the boys and girls have been through the ringer this week emotionally.
Yeah. They've sailed well, and they've got themselves out of holes.
And to a certain
sailed,
extent, the end justifies the means, doesn't it?
Yeah, they well deserved the win. They sailed cleanly. They sailed smartly. Terry minimized the risks, and he played the numbers game, and he got himself there.
Indeed, it's going to be interesting to see. We've not spoken to Terry all week, but I think it will be a very relieved but euphoric team there. Big hugs. It's a fascinating relationship between these two, between Terry and Victor Diaz de Leon. Sometimes they go at each other like animals, and sometimes there's just this big love and big respect. I think Louise, this is a massive moment for Victor and the younger members of this team, isn't it?
Wow, yes, Andy. I don't know if he's crying, but Victor is a quite emotional person, and I'm so happy for this team. They really fought hard. They did mistake, but they recovered, and Victor is really having a take-off this season. He's winning most of the competitions he does, so congratulations to American Magic. You really deserve this win. Incredible performance, nail-biting action. I absolutely loved it, and they were fighting so hard.
I think a huge release of emotion for Terry is like a pressure cooker. It's just releasing the valve and steam coming out his ears, and just great scenes. They obviously came in as favourites, but the other teams, Sled and Paprec, have pushed them to the absolute limit over the course of this regatta. Fantastic venue, CASCAIS. Really, it's absolutely delivered, Dougie, in every sense.
It has. It's been consistently windy week. We had one light air day. It's really neat to see a new generation coming onto Quantum and stepping up to the plate. We have Harry Melgis, who comes from a long generation of world-class sailors, and it's pretty cool to see a young guy like that, drive this team and drive the team into a world championship.
It's fantastic to see Terry going round and giving everybody such huge hugs. I mean, I think this one is really important for the team and for him, particularly with the young team. He's won before. It was very emotional when he won with Doug DeVos on the helm the first time.
He's a hugger. What can we say? He's a hugger.
On a good day. Not on a bad day. On a bad day.
Yes, American Magic.
Go on, Louise.
American Magic for me is also one of the outstanding teams because they have 2 girls on board, so they're really leading by example. I still miss to see more girls here in the TP52 Super Series in 2025, so well done to American Magic. Having 2 girls on board and now winning the world champion title, that's phenomenal.
It is indeed. I mean, a special kudos to Sarah Stone, who stepped in as a navigator. I think she will be the first female to win the World Championship title as navigator, which is a massive kudos to her. And really, they've achieved their goal in terms of winning the world title, but in terms of transferring skills, ability and knowledge to a younger generation, all credit to American Magic, to Doug DeVos and family.
Yeah, I mean, we have a range of experience and ages. Foxy is. We were talking about this the other day on the dock. I think he's probably one of the more senior bowmen in the fleet, and
he's now won. I think his 9th, I think, world title. He's the sailor who's won more world titles. Not quite sure how that works out, but he's that's what Wikipedia tells you.
Yeah. So he's got a lot of knowledge to pass on to the younger ones on the team.
Same with Matt Cassidy as well, one of the linchpins of the team in the pit. Unfortunately, they're becoming more and more superstitious as they get older and refuse to do interviews on the last day, because we saw so many times last year when they went into the final days of regattas with a lead and managed to choke and not deliver the win. And I think, Dougie, that's really what they've learned this year. It's about the final day, closing out the wins, isn't it? And that's what you've got to do at any level. And for these youngsters going forward to America's Cup or whatever happens for their careers beyond that, it's all about performance under pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where, you know, when you have somebody like Terry on the boat who's been there and done that countless times, it's going to really, you know, try and, you know, regulate the mood on the boat. He's, you know, really good about, you know, this is the last race and we're going to sail this last race just the same way as it's our first race. And, you know, let's not do anything different. Let's trim the same way. Let's do the same maneuvers, everything that we're confident in, and let's just keep it the same. And Terry will hammer that onto those guys, you know, in the morning briefing and, you know, in between races.
Louise, a few words for the French. They came so close, but they can leave CASCAIS with their heads held high. They've given it everything, but I'm sure they will accept they were beaten by a slightly better team on the day. Cometh the day, cometh the hour.
Absolutely, Andy. Chapeau les Français. I think they had an incredible performance. Really, already in Bayona, they showed us what they can. And also here now, almost winning the world champion title. I have not seen a team any closer than them. It came down to the last downwind, to the last meters on that downwind. So well done here to the French team. I love to see them so much in front. I want to see more of this, and I can't wait for the last two races of this year in the TP52 Super Series.
Indeed, the French team on the ride, but also Dougie, thoughts for the sled team in third, and I think they're really going well for the season as well.
The sled is always there. They're always sailing well. They're always, you know, you always got to look out for them. They can win regattas. They have won regattas, and they'll win races. So. Yeah, I mean, you know, and Don Cowie said this morning it was going to be you know, to win the Worlds was be a big ask, and not impossible, but tough. But you know, they've sailed well all week, and they've had, you know, some good races and some awful races, and but they're on the podium.
Fantastic to see the big smiles on the French team, Paprec. They've been on the circuit for, I think, certainly since 2012, one of the first teams, indeed going back to back into Med Cup, I think they started.
You know, Paprec didn't, you know, those guys sailed really well today. They did not roll over. You know, they had a horrendous start in the first race, and that could have been, you know, hearts down and heads down and, you know, really disheartened. And they fought back, and you know, they fought all the way back, and they turned a deficit into, you know, a race on the last run. And there's nothing to be ashamed of that. You know, that was, you know, exemplary sailing, and that was world-class sailing.
Indeed, and they'll go from strength to strength, we hope. There we go then, the final standings for the Rolex TP52 World Championship 2025 here in CASCAIS. American Magic Quantum Racing are the champions by a single point ahead of the French and Paprec, who finish on 43 versus 42. 8 points behind our sled, but in the end, a fantastic finale for Phoenix. They were down in the basement earlier on in the regatta, coming in strong and hot on the final day with 1-5. They get themselves up to fourth, winning fourth by a single point. But then look how close the points are, all the way down from fourth to ninth. We said that all the way through the week, Dougie. We said that in Bayona as well. 60 points to Phoenix, 61 to Alcedo Vitamina, 62 to Allegra, 63 to Platoon Aviation, 63 to Gladiator, 65 to Vayu, and in the end, Alpha Plus. A 2-2 on the final day is a good encouraging finale for them. Looking forward to Puerto Portals next month, and Provezza finishing with a win. So all better for the Turkish team, but really exciting for the Phoenix team finishing like that, and Tony Norris finishing then as best owner driver, and a team which could win in Puerto Portals?
Yeah, I mean, and they're strong there every time.
Yeah. No, of
So-
course. It's, you know, we laugh because Puerto Portals is such a specific venue, and some teams always seem to do well. And there we go. Just a very, very quick look at the season standings. We're over halfway. We're past the equator. American Magic on 93 points, Sled in second on 122, Paprec in third. I mean, that's as much a source of encouragement for them as anything, 129.5. Alcedo Vitamina in fourth now, 138, 143 for Platoon Aviation. Platoon Aviation going strong from now till the end of the season. They can still finish on the podium, we hope, fingers crossed for them. Vayu in sixth, 160 points. Alpha Plus 160.5, Allegri 163, Brevet's 175, 177 for Phoenix, Gladiator on 195, 241 for TZ Machine. We're expecting them back after the Admiral's Cup, and indeed Crayola will be joining us again soon. But what a fantastic week. Thank you so much to Louise for enduring the conditions on the water, for giving us so much positive energy and big smiles, and to Doogie, thank you so much for being in the studio with us. Hope we don't see you again.
Yeah, thanks.
I hope you have a full and final recovery and enjoy your time off between now and Puerto Portals. And so thanks, and signing off from CASCAIS with the world champions, American Magic, Quantum Racing. Congratulations to them.
If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. You gotta give it all you got, you gotta let them know. You are on another level, you are ruthless. Switch it up, it's the new flex. Ruthless, ruthless. If you never risk it, then you never know. If it's holding you back, you gotta let it go. 3, 2, 1, racing! Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. Yeah, the first step is showing up, hear them cheer. Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. We're blowing up.